like, oh, did you already? And he's like, no, she just relaxed. Like, I didn't do anything. And I was like, see, she just wants to chill. Like, she just let her be her. So it's always going to suck. But yeah, we don't go that far. So my dogs are nothing but a group of playful things that eat everything I love, and they bounce in and out of the house because I don't want to stick them in their kennels and see them tear those up while I'm doing the show.
Makes sense.
I'm realistic about my ownership.
I was looking at someone on Facebook. Yo, have y'all Twitter's been going the fuck off about this Elon Musk thing?
Of course.
This shit is comedy, bro.
Wait,
it's
who?
like all y'all motherfuckers doing too much. Like, calm down. It's not that fucking serious. Like, it's not that serious. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he can't just completely open this up. Do you know the liability lawsuits he will have if some shit happened and it happened because of Twitter? Like,
that's what I was saying. I said that exact same thing earlier. Like, he's not going to open up like people think he's going to open up because he will get sued. And one thing Elon Musk not trying to do is lose money on this Twitter deal. He's trying to make money.
Yes. Thank you. Right? That is, in fact, how he has gone through life. And it will, in fact, be how he will continue to go through life.
I must not be on Twitter enough because I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Elon Musk bought
Twitter. Yeah.
Bought Twitter today. And his original statement was he wanted an edit button, which I think Twitter should have. It should have an edit button. I should be able to edit a tweet. Like, you know what I mean?
It has one. You just have to pay for it. Yeah. That's that bullshit.
George Carlin made the joke that like humans only exist so that Mother Earth could get styrofoam because she didn't know how to make it herself. And I feel like, hey, if Elon Musk has to buy Twitter in order for us to get an edit button, I might be able to tolerate that.
Yeah, I'm not even mad. I don't even use Twitter that much, right? You know what I mean? Like I brave the wild on Twitter very infrequently. I usually just stick with my mentions, and my mentions are usually loaded from one of the other podcasts because he goes through a service and they retweet all day, every day, the show. So like I usually stick to my mentions, but you know, every once in a while I'll brave the wild, and like that's the problem with Twitter. It's way too fucking wild.
Yeah,
like it's too wild. But like the biggest problem that I have with Twitter is, you know, I had a very public breakup happen, and it fucked me up really bad, and I was off social media for the most part for quite some time. But you know, I stopped podcasting at some point, but then I came back. But during all of that time, like people were going back and finding the shows and stuff like that, and they were sending me, you know, friend requests and all that kind of shit and follows and all that kind of stuff. So I was just following everyone back. I ain't say nothing, I ain't do nothing, but like if you sent me a follow, you know what? Cool with me. I'll follow you back. I ain't hating. I'm not even here enough to hate you. You know what I mean? So when I actually started going back to Twitter, the signal to noise ratio was way off. Yeah. And like, and then you still got your friends who still give a shit about the console war, who you're just like, bruh, you 50
I don't give a fuck about that.
You 50 years old. Why do you still give a shit about the console war when you are able to buy both? And your reasoning for buying both is I bought
it's all they got
Xbox
left,
so
man.
I can talk shit.
It's all they got left.
You gotta beat someone's ass over a Genesis, man. You haven't been there.
I bought an Xbox so I could talk shit about it. I bought this so I can talk shit about it. And like, it's like you really wasted your money to do that. Like you could have talked shit about it. And then like, do you tell us how much that your Xbox is a dust magnet? And it was like, all right, cool. Like,
well, I guess you wasted your money.
Yeah, you wasted your money.
You wasted your $500.
Yeah, tell me you're foolish without telling me you're foolish, right?
Yeah, you wasted your money, and now you're wasting my time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like people will point out weird shit. Like I'm sure you can see over my shoulder the Master Chief thing. That's a little card back at the Halo 2 release. I ended up meeting I forget his name, John St. John or whatever, the guy who voices Master Chief, and he just wrote like a signature, an autograph for me. But people will notice like that, and then like you'll see like I just have random shirts. So like I've got a Killzone 2 shirt on, and they're like, "Whoa, that's Sony and Microsoft at the same time," and I was like, "Uh-huh." There's also a Street Fighter poster way in the corner, but no one seems to give a shit about that.
You got to pick a side.
You got a Killzone 2 shirt. Like, can we talk about how just horrible the Killzone series is? Like, it is bad. Like, it is so bad.
Go there now,
Shadowfall is the most beautiful piece of shit I have ever played. The game
had me until piece of shit. It's gorgeous, but you are right. It looks rough so game. Great.
But like the whole time, even with what's his name? The dude who does the voice in he does a voice in Destiny and all that kind of stuff. He plays in a bunch of shit. He played in The Wire and all that other stuff. Lance something.
Lance Harkison. Something like that.
Yeah.
Hendrickson?
No, Lance Hendrickson is the dude from
no, I'm thinking of the Aliens guy. Sorry.
Yeah, not Aliens, Bishop, the guy that's the in John Wick. He's like the guy, the concierge guy.
Lance Riddick. I looked at
Lance Riddick.
So
I was just looking it up.
There we go.
Yeah, he plays a character in Killzone Shadowfall, and every time he was talking, I was just kind of like, why am I here? Why am I here? Why is this a thing?
I just kept playing it going, it's going to get good. And then I'm sitting there at that one part where like they have like the little guys slowly like creep up on you like you're doing some pseudo tower defense, but it's just you standing behind an area just braving them off, which they've done in every Killzone game. And I'm like, trust me, this game's going to get good anytime.
That part frustrated the shit out of me. I couldn't quite figure out how to get past that. And I just that part took me a while, but yeah, Killzone, and then like, okay, Killzone does the thing that I hate about Gears of War, where you have that one character that's the stereotypical black dude, but this does not take place on Earth.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, Coltrane, love Coltrane. But like, yo, my man is a stereotypical football player. Like, you know what I mean? He plays football. Whatever the fuck game that they made up for that shit. Like, why
Thrash ball.
Why are you talking about Thrash ball? That dude is a stereotypical football player. And of course, like, he's the dude from the Office Linebacker commercials. So like that's why they got him to play that. You know what I mean? They was like, you know what? You just basically played the same dude from the Office Linebacker commercials, which were fantastic, by the way.
I think that's where I struggle, right? Because those commercials were great and Coltrane's great, but like I'm not aware of what they're doing. It's so like, come on, man, this ain't even on Earth. Why he acting like a stereotypical black dude on Earth? You know what I mean? Like, if this ain't on Earth, why?
You know what it reminds me of? You ever watch G.I. Joe?
Oh,
and like how you have like the black character in G.I. Joe, like Roadblock. He just had this offensively black voice, talking like he's from Louisiana.
We talked about Michael Bay's Transformers and like how they had my man breakdance when he transformed in the first movie, voiced by Eddie fucking Winslow, and the first thing he says is "Sup, bitches."
Yeah, that was terrible.
We're not even gonna get into Scared and Mudflap.
I was about to say, like, yeah, that's low hanging fruit.
We're not gonna get into Scared and Mudflap, but just the fact that the black one basically did a fucking windmill when he transformed, like breakdancing, to transform into a fucking robot instead of the car.
And don't forget, the black one was brutally murdered by Megatron.
Yeah, and while screaming, "You want a piece of me?" Like,
he was literally ripped in half.
No, nigga.
Like, what the fuck?
Megatron basically said that without saying nigga, but you know the nigga was implied. You know what I mean? The nigga was implied. No, nigga, I won't too. Snap. You know what I mean? Like, the nigga was implied.
I mean, you're not wrong, and I understand that, like, this is gonna be bad because I am the whitest Hispanic you will ever meet, but Dom is. His culture exists purely in his skin tone and nothing more. Like anything that makes him Hispanic.
I met Carlos Ferro.
Now he, on the other hand,
yes, but I met him years ago at PAX East. And there's pictures on my Facebook page that I got linked into because we were all at a club and they had a gamer party, and at some point he was going to DJ for a bit. Nice. And then like we were in like the first booth close to the DJ booth, so they wanted to do a photo opportunity where he was just there, where they took a picture of him with the dancers or whatever, because they had some chicks that was just kind of dancing, and fucking nerds.
That was the good old days in video game journalism when they just had strippers and dancers at video game parties.
my biggest problem was not the dancers; it was the fact that the dudes kept oogling the dancers, not noticing all these gamer chicks that you actually have something in common with, standing to the side, dancing with themselves.
That's usually how it works.
I was there with my wife, so like, I mean,
but then the gamer chicks,
the
gamer chicks, they're gonna like actually like talk shit about and say they're not real gamers and like.
Right,
like Gamergate their ass, you know.
You actually have a connecting point. Like the hardest part about meeting new people is the start of that conversation. If the chick got on a Donkey Kong shirt, that is the start of your conversation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So yeah, and I'll take a really quick side story with that. So I remember my buddy Jeff, and he and I went to PAX 2009. So that'll date us, right? Mass Effect 2 was the big game on the show floor. Get ready for that, kids. There was a press conference you couldn't go to as like a regular goer, and they didn't stream it. So what does that tell you? But we went out to Seattle, and I don't know if you know this, but Seattle dies at 10 p.m. Like, it's not just a coffee town. Like, everyone gets up at 5 a.m. and everyone goes to bed at 10 p.m. So at 10 p.m., the bars switch from alcohol to juice. And so you got left to do is hit on.
I live in Virginia. I'm
okay.
That sounds awful.
There's dry counties.
Yes, I'm aware of that. Yeah. So what happened was at 9:30 we did like 3 Jaeger bombs, and then actually my buddy Jeff did 5. But and then you just gotta conversate.
You put Jeff on blast like that? That's fucked up, dog. That's full.
Jeff would be the first to put himself on blast. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Jeff's a pro. I promise you.
And the Jeff he's talking about is Jeff Kanata. No big deal.
Right? Yeah. Jeff's also rich, so he'll be all right. But anyway, my point is, I remember going there, and at this club we were at, it was predominantly goth chicks with a handful of other types of girls. And there is nothing I love more than a girl in a skin tight, like leather outfit, especially one that looks like she could beat your ass, and has way too much eyeliner on. Oof, just gets me. But he was talking to me and he was just like, I don't understand. Like, I've been talking to girls and like, it's just fallen flat, and you keep talking to girls all day long and you don't have a problem. I should point out, I was not single at the time. So I was dating my girlfriend or my wife at the time. But I said, well, like, PAX is in town. So I've been opening all conversations talking about video games. And he goes, what? They might think you're a nerd. I was like, I just said PAX is in town.
Yeah.
Like, all fucking nerds here.
I said, once the alcohol dries up, that's the only reason they're here, man, is to see, talk to, and meet nerds. Like, that's all it is. Like, I said, just start talking to them about some shit you cared about on the show floor. Ask them if they play video games, or I don't know, pick a fucking topic. But you got to find something you have common ground on, because this shooting the shit is not going to work.
Can I be frank about something? And I find this fascinating and crazy. Why all those years we hid like our love for video games in like comic books and shit like that and wrestling. And now everybody loves video games and comic books and wrestling. It feels like we could have been getting along with this shit for a long time.
I have the answer. Because here's the thing. When we were younger, because none of us are very young, except for Chase is a little bit younger. But when we were younger, there was a separation between the nerds and the jocks, right? That was always been a thing, right? Yes. So in order to appear to be not, and I've said this on Facetious like years ago when me and Blue used to do Facetious all the time. But what really happened was first person shooters introduced jock culture into our culture.
And Madden specifically like
not Madden, because like prior to the Xbox, I was the Madden dude, but I wasn't really talking to anybody.
I mean, I think again that Halo started to do it, but I think it was Modern Warfare 2, man.
Halo started to do it, but Call of Duty made this a thing. Call of Duty made this a big deal. And what happened was when their culture infested ours, we started to resent the fact that we hid for so long. And so we started to fight back. And by fighting back, the difference in the cultures came more like jock culture. I mean, basically, the console war is who's your favorite team?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The console war is who's your favorite team? Like you rock with your team and like, fuck them other niggas because I'm down for my niggas. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's that. And like, I think the infestation of our culture by jocks who were really just around to play like the first person shooters, and then like everything kind of exploded from there. But if you notice, back when like this is around like the 360 days. Because it started a little bit in the Xbox PS2 age. But the 360 PS3 age is when everything exploded. And, like Call of Duty was the biggest thing every year. Because, like, they couldn't wait to get the new version of the stuff that they get to kick the shit out of people. And, like, we were just kind of like, okay, so, like, I no longer have to hide my love of these JRPGs, even though personally I'm a JRPG hater. But like, like all of this stuff, like it became, oh, this is cool now. So we're in the in crowd now. But then you also have the fight back with like what happened with Mass Effect 3. You also have the fight back that happens when, people start going off about microtransactions and all of this kind of stuff, because all of those things appeal to the jock culture. Mm-hmm. Jock culture wants the advantage in a situation, and that's who they're selling to. And like our culture got infested by them, and then spilled over into other areas where we now have all of these comic book movies. But like, it's like, bitch, you didn't like the comic books growing up. Yeah. You know what I mean? You ain't give a fuck about this until they put this shit on a movie screen. Now you acting like you some sort of fucking expert and you ain't read a fucking book. You know what I mean? Like, and so like you get that fight back, and like now you get like the fight back with the people who like really hate like the Star Wars sequels, and like people who really hate on like Harry Potter and stuff like that, and then all of these Marvel versus DC and stuff like that is still picking your team. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, all of this is the infestation of jock culture into our culture is what changed all of that. It used to be a thing where we just kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna do my thing over here. And like just hang out with my bros, and we gonna play some Tecmo Bowl, and like we all gonna hang out at Tony house, and like when my game come up, it's time for my game. You know what I mean? Is 21 nothing skunk, pass them sticks. You know what I mean? Like all of these internal rules that we had, all that shit went out the door when the other element came through. It's kind of like the same thing with black people and niggas. Like when niggas like infested the culture, it's just like, oh, so I guess it's okay for all of us to act like this now. and then of course that led us to the same thing that happened in black / hip hop culture, where and what made the console war worse, which is the same thing that's happening in hip hop right now, where East and West were beefing with each other. The South took over and brought all of the casuals with them. And the people who were still fighting for their team, they ended up losing, so they had to adapt. Or they were going to lose out on this thing, but now all they do is those people who really love hip hop or New York hip hop or people who love LA hip hop, they all hate the South. You know what I mean? Because the South completely took over because like that culture was adversarial, and it's the same thing that happened with the Wii. The Wii did the same thing in nerd culture, where everybody was Sony versus Microsoft, and then the Wii was like, yeah, we're just gonna sell 1 billion units and make everyone love us.
But it's sort of a little bit like in shooters right now, where it's like, oh, you know, Halo versus Call of Duty or whatever, and like battle royales are taking over, and then you'll say every or Battlefield released a battle royale, and everyone was like, groan. And then like,
no, I'm gonna tell you what the real issue with that is. Here's the real issue with that.
Okay.
It's the same thing that I've been saying. Everybody pick their team, but the biggest issue, the biggest issue was one thing that's in jock culture that was not in nerd culture, that infested our culture was. Thing that I love. Everything else I fucking hate.
Yeah, there was like that same team mentality, right? Like there was obviously this, like I joked about the Genesis versus SNES, but at the end of the day, we all love Mortal Kombat. Like that was boss. Like everybody kind of won when those things came together, even if you had your side. In fact. A lot of people don't talk about this, but the difference I see a lot of the times was, do you remember? I was a Genesis kid, but I had a Super Nintendo friend because when that dope shit came out on Super Nintendo, I had to play it. So I had to be able to go over to Jeff's house and play his Super Nintendo.
I was the opposite, and the Genesis made me leave Nintendo. I did not buy another Nintendo thing for myself until I bought a Switch a couple of years ago. And my disdain for Nintendo still remains. I will not play a Nintendo game other than Mario Kart when I'm playing with just the family, but I don't play Nintendo games. I've never played a Zelda game.
Wow.
Never played a Zelda game. I don't play. I've played Mario's since Super Mario World. I have not played another Mario since Super Mario World.
Wow. I was actually fortunate in terms of like 16-bit era, because I got a Super Nintendo for Christmas, but my grandmother loved to go to like flea markets and stuff when I was younger. And at the flea market, they didn't know what these consoles were for some strange reason. So they would have Genesis systems there, and they would sell them for like dirt cheap. So I got a Genesis for like $30.
The Genesis
that was pre-internet.
Changed, by the way.
Well, now
Genesis is the reason why I do not like Nintendo, and like it's gonna sound really fucking stupid when I say this, and every time I say it, everyone goes, "Wow, that sounds really fucking stupid." But there's 2 games that was so much better on the Genesis that it made me turn my back on Nintendo. That was Mortal Kombat.
No,
Shaq Fu. Now here's the thing.
Okay, wait. No, that's right. That's right.
Shaq Fu was a
much
game,
better.
But
the Genesis version's better.
Way better.
Way better.
Way better. Like we got some side scrolling beat 'em up nonsense. Y'all got a fucking fighting game. Like with different characters and shit. Like I was mad as a motherfucker. And like the Power Rangers fighting game too. Like I was like, yo, I'm mad as a motherfucker. We ain't got this shit over here.
Yeah, the hit detection was
my
really
peop-
off. On
my
Shadow
people
of the
had-
SNES,
But Blue
yeah.
was saying like the Nintendo serving the 11 and 12-year-old, but the you know, a lot of these things that make people grown or making old people grown. You know, it might make me, because I'm not 11 or 12-year-old. So when people are talking like a new game that has like the Fortnite model, that's a battle royale and has skins and microtransaction stuff, like the new generation love that shit, and that's what's going to like be the new gaming. And because Halo is not going to like ever be what it used to be with new people.
Chase nailed it. Chase 100% nailed it.
Yeah, go ahead.
When it comes, because I see it from my son. My son, he plays a lot of games and stuff like that, but his main go-to is Fortnite. He will spend thousands of dollars on costumes and all this bullshit I don't give a shit a damn about. And he will play that game all day if you let him, because that's their thing. Like, they don't mind paying for those microtransactions because it's worth it to them. Like, hey, I can get the new John Wick skin, or I could be Spider-Man shooting a gun, which makes no sense to me. That's their thing.
I saw
But
an article. They got
purchase,
Wu-Tang
though-
skins in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that's,
No, correction. They have Wu-Tang outfits.
yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, because my son was like, he thought it was skins. He's like, oh, they're gonna have Wu-Tang skins, Dad. You should play with me as a Wu-Tang Clan member. I'm like, oh, that might actually be cool. I play as Ghostface Killer, and then I see a fucking T-shirt. Like, fuck out of here. I'm not doing that.
Well, and so there's two other things that I think are compelling, which is with each microtransaction that we talk about, you have a new, and my daughter is keenly aware of this, you have a new vested interest in, like, you're less likely to leave because each one cumulatively builds up to this riches that you can't walk away from the game from. Like, my daughter's like, if I walk away from Fortnite right now, I walk away from all it is and I got to start over with a new game. And I'm like, games aren't all like that.
I'm going to say just a few words, and you are going to completely sympathize with me. My daughter is a Sims fan.
Oh, yeah.
Or you spending a fortune.
She was
yeah.
there before
Like-
it was popular, though.
Well, it doesn't seem like it if you're, you know, getting things as it comes out. But because I gave my Origin account to my wife. I was like, I'm just going to make me a new one, and I'm going to go to CD Keys and buy whatever freaking game that I had on there, which isn't much, for like dirt cheap, and you can just have my Origin account, because there's like literally nearly $1,000 worth of content on it that, you know, her starting over would be the stupidest move in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Financially.
Yeah, no, and
Mark.
what pisses me off the most, though, was when I was sitting down with my wife, this is probably 2 weeks ago, and I was like, hey, there's this shitty comic book character called Moon Knight, but apparently they made a TV show about it, so we're going to pretend it's cool because Oscar Isaac's in it. So,
Moon Knight isn't a
and
shitty
my wife's
comic
like,
book character. He's pretty cool.
agree to disagree.
Come on, dog.
But
he's,
like,
he's negative Batman, like shot with a film negative. He's negative Batman with multiple personalities. Like, what is fucking exciting about this, other than the fact
I mean,
that
in the early 90s, they were like, he's a mummy brought to life, and there's some stuff about it, some supernatural stuff. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But my point is that I love Oscar Isaac. Let's check it out. Let's watch Moon Knight. And my daughter's like, yeah, we're good. I'm good. I don't need to see that shit. You know, she doesn't swear, but yeah. And then
Mine does.
they announce a Moon Knight skin for Fortnite, and suddenly she comes up to me, gaslighting my ass like at dinner like last week, and she was like, hey guys, I don't know if you know this, but there's this show called Moon Knight that's apparently on Disney Plus. And I was
Have you
wondering
heard
if
of
guys
this Moon
wanna
Knight
watch
character?
it. And I looked at my wife what's pissing me off the most is that's what it's like talking to my parents also. Like, I'll mention something and then they'll bring it up like a week later as if it's their idea. Like, they're at that age now. But still, like, yeah, I think that's what drives me nuts.
It's like
is
in, like,
my
cartoons.
daughter.
Where they're
my
like,
daughter does that with music. Like, music is like a big thing. Like, I would play when I'm playing my music and stuff like that, she's just like, headphones on, and like, so like we start, so like now she's a little bit older. My daughter's 14.
you turn it up and be
Well,
like, are your headphones soundproof? Because
Right.
the
Oh,
subwoofer is
no.
not.
Yeah, because she's just like, Dad, I can still feel your music through the door.
And you're like, yeah.
If it's too loud, you're too old. Like, rock on, man. But what happened was, like, I've been playing music around her for a long time, and then like when we did school shopping, she bought an Aaliyah shirt. I was like, "Do you know anything about Aaliyah's music?" And it's just like she just had there was a name recognition, but like no recognition of like her anything that she actually did. There's just a name recognition, and so and she was just like, "No," and I was like, "So why do you want the shirt?" It was like, "Oh no, I just like the shirt." I was like, "All right, cool." We get in the car. And I play her some of Aaliyah's music, and she's like, "Oh, that's her," because she's heard it before. And then, like one time, my daughter, I think it's about in September, because my daughter loves K-pop and shit like that. Like I hate K-pop, I can't fucking stand it, but she loves K-pop, but like she started branching out and started listening because I keep telling her like, "Yo, maybe you should listen to the black people who did this better and who did it first." Like,
Makes sense to me.
Maybe. You know what I mean? And she was like, "Why do you always make this a black thing?" It's like, yeah, because people love black culture. They just don't love black people. And and so she started branching out and started listening to different things. And in September, she was like, Dad. And she said this with a straight face too. I almost pissed myself laughing. She was like, "Have you ever heard of Erykah Badu?" it's like I've heard this song and I really like this song, and it's just like, I mean,
Yeah.
like
What can you say to that?
I own Baduism. It's one of my favorite albums ever. It's right there. Like you could have went into this a long time ago. And then she was playing a song, and like my daughter and I, we love like samples and like tracking samples back and stuff like that. And she found "Didn't You Know" by Erykah Badu, and I was like, "Oh." So like, do you know? And I get her on stuff all the time. Like, do you know the J. Cole sample? Because he sampled this song. And then I played her the original song. And so like, we just made like a sample link all through all three of those songs. It's like, oh, this is where it came from. This is what Erica did with it. This is what J. Cole did with Erica's version of this, and like stuff like that. But I get stuff like that all the time. She was like,
"Well, you ought to sit down when it's movie night. We're watching Dave Chappelle Block Party. You're gonna see all this good music." And
you know, man, listen. I think I have that DVD somewhere still. That Jill Scott is fucking amazing.
And fine.
Yes, and that's before she did the thing where she was pretending to blow a microphone.
Yes.
That was before that. And like I have one of my old assistants at one of my jobs. Her brother used to be married to Jill Scott. So fun times. Because
how did he fuck that up?
Long story. Long story. I know the story. I don't think I should say it. But
I don't know. Like I'm looking at the time. I think no, I'm just kidding.
I don't think I should say it. And like she the homie. She the homie still. Like we don't work together no more, but she's still a homie. But I shared this on Facebook, so I don't want her to click on this link and find me out here telling her business or in her brother's business like that. I don't think that's not how this is gonna go down. Except Blue said you better call Tyrone. Call him. I think like most people like don't realize that shit is about Andre 3000. And like the funniest shit is when someone actually realizes that after all of these years it's about Andre 3000.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's like finding out Alanis Morissette's album was about Dave Coulier. It's like
right,
well,
yeah.
Well, that's the crazier one, I think. That's the crazier one still.
No, but like Tyrone.
That is the crazier one.
Call Tyrone is like she is dissing the fuck out of this dude. Like you know, I mean, she's doing it very subtly. Like Alanis Morissette is very straightforward, and she did a whole fucking album of this shit. Like, you know what I mean? You ought to know it's just one piece of this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there is the very bold piece of that overall puzzle. She did a whole album about this dude. But like Tyrone is like relationship ether, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like relationship ether. Like she killed this nigga, dog. And then the worst part about it is, like, I've seen their son. Their son looks just like him. So like every day she had to look into her son's eyes and see the nigga she made Tyrone about. Like that's the
Yeah. That's usually how it is.
That's
usually how it is. Usually how it is.
Hold on, this is my daughter now.
Oh, what you did?
Actually, real quick, I'll just throw a little quick anecdote. I had to run out and grab my dogs, and when I did, my daughter was like, "Heard you talking about Moon Knight."
Your daughter was like, "I heard that shit you was talking, Dad."
I was like, "You playing Fortnite?" And she goes, "Maybe." So, and we're about to actually, my daughter and I, we're road tripping to Milwaukee on Friday. We're going to the Midwest Gaming Classic in Milwaukee. It's a retro game show and pinball and stuff. And I was going to it, and she was like, "Mind if I come with?" She's almost 11, and so she wanted to come with. And so we are stuck in a car for 8 hours.
Yeah, I never like heard anybody just be
it.
like, "Oh man, we're gonna go on a road trip. You know where we're gonna go? We're gonna go to Milwaukee." I'm just like,
"Yeah, Milwaukee, fucking White Castle and shit. Yeah,
you're gonna get the
that's
best
gonna
beer.
happen. Cheese Castle, yeah." But we're gonna have to figure out a playlist. And I've already tested it. I took her downtown recently, and I played In This Moment because she likes hard rock, and I just figured chick rockers are great. And she was like, "Dad, that girl sounds real angry. That girl sounds a little angrier than I am." I was like,
A little aggressive.
Yeah, she was like, "I don't know what a sex metal Barbie is, but it didn't sound like my speed." But we'll see how it goes. She's a fan of Imagine Dragons, which I'm taking her reluctantly to them this summer. So I guess I'll have to get to know a lot of their stuff.
Speaking of girl rockers, I got really embarrassed one time when I was in the store. I was in like Walgreens or some shit like that, and because I played a lot of Rock Band, right? Like I didn't really know a huge amount about rock music until I started playing like Guitar Hero and Rock Band and stuff like that. It expanded me a little bit. I mean, you know,
Speaking of the jocks getting involved in our shit, but yeah, continue.
I got involved. No, wait, hold the fuck up. Rock music is our shit. Y'all took it. Like let's be clear about this.
That's true.
Let's be clear about this. There is no musical genre created by the United States that does not track back to black people.
Oh yeah, that's kind of the whole the whole point of it, right? Like that's the joke of it all.
Yeah, you can track every American musical art form can be tracked back to gospel music. If you do a little research, it all can be tracked back to gospel music. Changes, you know, like things of that nature, progressions and all of that kind of stuff, it can all be traced back. But so no I'm in the store and Brass in Pocket is on. And I know this song from Rock Band. And I'm not paying attention to the fact that I am singing my ass off because I've sang this song on Rock Band. I've sang it like her. So I was doing that, and I was just kind of doing my thing, and I was just kind of singing, and I realized I must have been singing a little too loud because this brother with a bandana kind of poked his head around the corner like, the fuck's going on over there?
For those that don't know, if you don't know that song, and I won't hold it against you, that's a Pretenders song. So
Yes,
go ahead
it
and
is.
look up "Brass in Pocket" by the Pretenders.
No, and I was full on like God bless. Like I was in it. Like you know what I mean? I was singing. I was really
I
singing.
feel like you should give us a little bit of those notes.
No, thank you.
Oh man, yeah, no, let's do it right now.
But there was another
His
time.
notes are too good.
there
It's
was-
going to get us a copyright strike.
Content advisory, you get muted.
There was another time that happened with an NSYNC song, but it wasn't just
Go on.
me that time.
You
Oh,
was just singing all the white songs, wasn't you?
No, 'cause, like, no. I fuck with the boy bands. That was my shit. NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. 98
They ain't
Degrees,
catch you
Lil
singing no Nas, no
New
Jay
Kids
Z,
on the Block.
no
I can do
Janet
that too.
Jackson. You just
do
singing
that too.
all
Like,
the.
Are they gonna play that in Walgreens? You know what I mean? Or CVS?
Now they do.
Or
Now they do.
or
They
Rite
do
Aid.
now, yeah, right?
they
Like,
do now.
yeah, suddenly
All
it's
right.
more socially acceptable. But
This was like years ago, right? So I'm in the store and God Must Have Spent a Little More Time on You came on, right? So I'm walking up and down the aisles, right? And the chorus was on, and I'm walking to the end, and I'm to the end, get ready to turn down another aisle, and there's another brother that comes out the opposite way, but not on the same aisle, so we couldn't see each other until we're turning for our respective aisles. And it was on You. So like we're both like we both poked out. Like me and another brother, we were both poked out singing You. And
eye
we kind of
contact,
made
it was
eye
awkward as
contact.
shit. Yeah.
It was like skirt. And then we just kind of turn around and just kind of walk away.
Y'all had a
Actually
moment
happened.
that you wish you'd never had.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that has happened to me. Like Chase doesn't have these because he's a metalhead.
I
They
will
don't-
say
They don't
this.
play metal in CVS.
I have sung before in the CVS. Britney Spears. Oops, I've done it again.
There you go. Well, but
That's a
one,
bop. That's a bop.
I feel
I
like
ain't gonna
that
lie.
one's acceptable. I feel like a lot of people want to judge you, but they're like, nah, I get it.
That's on
Like-
fire. Can't lie.
Look. If you want to protect yourself, if anybody questions you about it, just be like, "How many times I watched that video? That ass though." Like you know what I mean? That's all you gotta say. That ass though, and then like whoever trying to pull your card at that point is just like, right.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to know what you were dreaming about, like it's all over Instagram now. My wife has shown me more naked videos of Britney on Instagram than I realized existed. I was like, now why are you showing me
What?
this?
Why do I'm not ruining?
Britney
I'm not
Spears got off
ruining-
that conservative and just like, fuck it. I'm gonna do whatever I want to
No,
do. I'm gonna
I
show
mean,
everything.
I'm not looking for those.
I
pictures, bro.
jokingly say it, but she shows her whole ass on Instagram.
like,
it's
That kind of sucks though, because it just kind of completely ruins that picture that you had in your head. You know what I mean? Like,
I will never complain about women showing her body on any social
I
media
gotta be honest with
platform.
you, Britney's
I mean,
still
this-
got
this-
it. I hope she's okay, but she's still got it.
No, I just kind of like I don't know. I guess kind of look at it differently. One, I don't really need to see Britney Spears. I watch a lot of porn, so like, duh.
I don't
like,
need to either. It's good as
Right.
there. It's good as there though.
I don't need to like.
I mean, those
it
are
was-
two
it was
different
like-
needs.
It's like going back to Erica Badu. It was that the video where she's taking off all her clothes, and it was just like, whoa, that ass though. Like, boy, have you seen that one? Is window.
I remember that video. Yes,
Window seat
window
video.
seat.
Mhm.
Boy, did she get?
It's okay. You can pause the podcast and go watch it now, and you
Did she,
listen.
no, she gets dome pieced though. You got to be careful. Not too long after you see that ass though, she gets dome pieced. So like,
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
Not the
that's
good
true.
dome piece, the bad dome piece.
No, yeah. So just pause it when it's getting good.
Not the
But
good- that is the show title, not the good dome piece.
Yeah. There's a distinction.
there is a very huge distinction between the good dome piece and the bad dome piece. I got to do this. I got so I can remember. I got to change the title right now so that I can remember. But he just kind of did like a rolling start. Like we're already online and we're just kind of talking. So this is Scarcasm. The last episode of Spring Fling. Delvin is in the building. Delvin is going to tell you about all of the many places where you can find him towards the end of the show. And my nigga Rojas is here.
Hello.
I can call him my nigga Rojas. Because like Rojas just sounds like a name that like I would just tell everybody. Like I wouldn't even tell them my first name. Like you know what I mean? I don't even care about your first name, dog. I don't even care about your first name, dog. Like what's your name? My name's Rojas, bitch. Like you know what I mean? Like
Rojas. With the first name of Fred, you definitely don't want to like let everyone know that because it sounds like you were born in 1912, honestly. But
you're not a Frederick.
I even went. I'm a Federico, so yeah, okay. I'm a Frederico. I actually switched my name to Rico for about 3 years.
I like it.
When I first got out of college.
I can see Rico Rojas. You know,
yeah, there's some double Rico Rojas action going on my resume.
That sounds like a drug dealer in like an episode of like SVU. We gotta go see Rico Rojas.
My Italian manager once told me that too. It's like, hey, Rico. You know what that sounds like, right?
Rico Rojas sounds like the drug dealer that Razor Ramon based his persona off of.
You're completely right, and my wife was hilarious because my wife knew me at that time. We were dating, and she was like, "I will never call you that."
Or how can you not roll your R's? Because I'm not Hispanic.
Rico Rojas. Yeah, but yeah, so I should just go by my last name because nowadays that's pretty much how even people at work know me, right? Because everything's now like in healthcare, everything's last name, comma, first name. So I'm just Rojas.
So you're just not going to be at work in the healthcare profession and be like, no, you call me Spider's Venom.
Yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
Spider's Venom.
Yeah.
You're in the healthcare. I don't think Spider's Venom works a little bit. I don't think it works well in healthcare.
Might work a little better.
Oh no, it's the best. That's when we got that shit that like balls up that gives you the red veins, right? When the brown recluse gets you good. Yeah. That's what I am.
I don't think that works.
Well, you need the spider's venom to make the anti-venom, right?
There you go.
Yeah, but when you tell people how they do that, maybe they won't like you so much.
Yeah.
Because in order to do that, you have to inject it into a horse. Let the horse build up the antibodies, and then you drain the fuck out of the horse.
Well,
Blue said Rico Rojas sounds like the country pimp who always keeps his shirt open.
I know. Yeah, I got the
taco meat. You know what I mean?
The hair. I don't have chest hair, so like I mean, I went through puberty, so I do have some, but I don't have like the good Italian, like it's the chains creeping through it. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd think
it
with
creeps
my Robin
over
Williams
over
arms,
your
like I'd be okay, but yeah, it's like it doesn't do that. Like Hispanics have like, especially Costa Ricans, we have like the weirdest. Like you'll see, like I've got like hairy arms, but then it just stops. It's like God was just effing with me. Like he's just like, we're gonna play it off, but it's like those tuxedo shirts, right? Like it's only that good.
It's like they gave the rest of Robin Williams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds accurate.
Yeah, I don't have a pelt, so to speak.
They just gave you all the Robin Williams and Jonathan Davis.
Right? 13-year-old boy chest, 50-year-old man arms. Yeah,
Okay.
All right, that sounds through. That works. Yeah.
Let me ask y'all a question, and this is more for Delvin than anyone else.
Okay.
They're remaking Good Times, right?
Why?
The parents in Good Times, Jonah Hill and Tiffany Haddish.
That sounds fucking awful.
It does.
That sounds terrible. There are some shows that are just just part of that time frame, and Good Times is one of them.
Yeah,
why should we make them?
I think the same thing about the Fresh Prince. Like, here's the thing: you made the Fresh Prince. You made the Fresh Prince, but like I've seen All American Dog. Like I've seen like the Fresh Prince with like no comedy. Like I've seen this.
Yeah, but
it's a product of its time. There are others.
Yes.
I'm sorry, like, okay, sorry, let me give you the white person equivalent to that. Like, Saved by the Bell was like a product of its time, but like, I don't think you can capture that again. I do not think.
They tried, didn't they? Didn't they do
I'm
a new one where
sure
they like
they
the teachers
did.
and shit?
I don't know TV very well, but I would bet they did. In fact, we can Google it. I'm sure somebody is, but my
I don't
point
know
is
whether
that they did the same thing with. No, go.
Oh, I don't know whether they're trying because like, teenagers aren't really watching TV like that.
That's a good point.
And even
They're not.
that's it. That is an excellent point. So what do you get, right? You get a bunch of us who grew up watching it or watched reruns for, at least for me, for good times. Like I wasn't around, but like you get a bunch of us watching it, judging from what we had from our childhood, and you ain't ever going to capture that. Like, don't even try. Don't even try.
I met you.
They
I met
made
Jimmy
they made
Walker
two
at a
seasons
con.
of this. It started in 2020. They made 2 seasons of this shit already.
Oh, what you talking about? Saved by the Bell?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I knew
sorry,
that.
I was thinking Good Times. I was like,
Saved by the
shit,
Bell
that
is,
shit's produced.
All this is just they just all the old cast came back and they're now teachers of the newer generation of students. People
That
like it.
sounds good
Is-
to
is
an
Zach still a-
executive and no one else.
Is Zach still a piece of shit? Like, you know what I mean? Because
Mark
Zach,
Paul Gosselaar? No,
I think he's the mayor on the show or some shit like that.
Of course,
Zach is a
should be Mr.
horrible
Belding.
person.
Yeah,
Zach
that checks out.
was a horrible person. Although I will tell you, it's one of my favorite things to do, and I did this recently. I was out of town. I actually recently went out of town to St. Louis, and I was at like some art show
Why would
that
you do
my wife
that?
wanted to go
Oh,
to.
no.
What?
Sorry.
Oh, I went to go see Hamilton live. Sorry. It was a great showing, though. I like Hamilton. You know, I understand if people criticize it, but like, I liked it.
I never seen Hamilton.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. But anyway, I went and saw it, and we went to this art show afterwards because my wife, like, when she's in town and doing like artsy stuff, you know, let's go have a cheese plate that's $25. Anyway, I wore a T-shirt just like this Killzone one. It was a white T-shirt, but it had the Kelly Kapowski poster that Zach had on the inside of his wall. And my wife was like, "Why the fuck did you wear that to this thing?" I wore nice pants. I wore a
think
suit
about
coat.
it. How the fuck did he get a Kelly Kapowski poster? I think about it. Like, how did he
It's
ask her
creepy
for a
in
picture?
2022, isn't
I
it?
mean,
Right?
he was a
Yeah.
piece-
No,
It's
he
creepy.
didn't.
It's creepy in 1995. When you think about it,
He was a piece of shit. You know he scammed somebody out
He
of that
was a
fucking
piece of
poster.
shit. Yeah, exactly.
like,
That's
was she like making posters and selling them in school?
Oh, he
God,
scammed
this is-
somebody.
Nope.
He definitely scammed somebody out of
He
making that
acted
shit.
in ways that would get your ass either beat, sued, or both today.
But speaking of things that don't really hold up, I haven't listened to this in a long time, and today I listened to the Slim Shady LP.
Oh,
And holy shit! The
we recently
2022.
re-listened to that. Yeah.
It's like back then you were like, oh, it's kind of funny, but I'm like, man, this is hard to listen to.
His use of the alternate F word bothers me so much. I
I mean, he's like talking about like raping
that's a
people
word.
and stuff.
Yeah, that's a word I don't
yeah.
use. But that's how he got on. Like, he had a lane that wasn't being filled. The white teenage angst. He filled the same role as Linkin Park.
Well, but he could flow better than most white folks I knew.
yeah, but
Any
the problem
rappers
the
I knew
problem
actually,
but the problem was like we don't really think of killing our moms. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you
Like,
can't really-
he tapped
what-
into
what-
something.
and that's
He
what
tapped
I
into
have to
something.
back because my wife and I recently listened to it too, Chase. We were going to like a karaoke night, and I don't know why we listened to it on the way to downtown, but I remember my wife getting uncomfortable, and I had the original uncensored version of My Name Is. Like, that's
Yeah.
not on the album. Like, it's the
Yeah.
original one. It's not hard to find. It's just not the one that's on the album. And it is it is something else. It is really
Yeah.
something else. And my wife was just like, look, I'm not offended by it. Just turn it off. And there are some good tracks on there. Like, I did kind of like it might not be culturally appropriate anymore, but I like the one where he's talking about taking mushrooms, and he's at a party and he gives this girl mushrooms, and shit just gets bouncing off the walls.
My fault.
There are some fun songs. Yeah. There are, my fault. There are some fun songs on there. But by and large, that album is at least half, if not more so, just not feel good stuff. It doesn't hold up.
Well, like
I think most.
the kind of like killing stuff is kind of like jokey, but then you get the songs like As the World Turns, and it's like really talking about rape and stuff, and like the part in the song with Dr. Dre, what is it, Guilty Conscience, where he's talking about like screwing like a 15-year-old girl.
Guilty Conscience was another one my wife wanted me to just change it.
It's just like
the worst part about it is like the sample is the same sample that they did fucking on Sister Act.
Oh shit! I did not realize that until you said it.
Yeah.
But
and also a thing that no one ever thinks about, right? The song that the Asian chicks play on Kill Bill.
Yes.
It's the same song.
5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Yeah, that there's the same song it came from the same song that Salt and Pepper sampled on Shoop.
Yeah. That I didn't
I
recognize.
see that now. Yeah, sorry. That just when you first hear it, yeah. Sorry, some of us just don't pay enough attention.
I do. I love samples.
Well,
I will say this about Eminem.
Okay.
I don't think he didn't get good until the Eminem show. Like the first 2 albums, lyrically wise, he was just saying shit to be saying shit.
The Eminem show is the crown jewel of his experience, and then there is a steep, steep nosedive after that. Like, whoa, boy.
Like lyrically, he got better. He started rhyming more in a better cadence. He just wasn't saying shit to be saying shit. He was kind of rapping more. He sounded more like a rapper on the Eminem show as opposed to the first two. He kind of like a shock MC, just saying shit to be saying shit.
I think the shocking aspects for black people is the reason why we listened. It was like, I would never say this about my mother, but like, you know what I mean? Like, holy fuck, he actually said that. Like, that was really the catch when it came to most of the people that I knew and like people from my neighborhood. We would listen to Eminem and like, yo, he fucking said that shit, yo. Yeah, he put it on wax.
Yeah, like, and when you're saying something about angst, but like, I think a little bit of the second one and probably Eminem show where it gets really more of the like angry kind of feel. When that album mostly is just like shock stuff, not until like Still Don't Give a Fuck. Then it kind of gets into that classic angry Eminem sound, but yeah, it's mostly just like.
But at least one thing we can say about Eminem, he grew up with his music. He grew up with his music. He still says some crazy stuff sometimes, but he grew up with his music, unlike Linkin Park. But I stopped listening to Linkin Park once I realized that I'm a fucking adult. Why am I still listening to this shit? Also, first Stained album, very much the same kind of teenage angst. Is the first or the second one that starts off where like is basically him crying to his mother?
See, I gotta be honest with you, I knew better than to like Stained ever. Aaron Lewis and me, we just are not in the same universe.
He's in country. Yeah. He's in country music now, so you might be able to.
Yeah, you got to get past Aaron Lewis, but that sludgy guitar tone is.
Okay, let me make something very clear. Much like Scar was talking about earlier with Killzone, Shadowfall, I can appreciate the technical chops. That doesn't make it a decent album. In my eyes,
right? Yeah. I'm not saying that, but like,
I respectfully disagree. Like the first two Stained albums were fucking fantastic to me, but
I am no music aficionado either.
Here's the one that I really loved and no one fucking talks about. Fucking first Saliva album. The first Saliva album.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna be right on board with you.
It's fucking fantastic, bro. Like, I'm like,
I don't even really remember what they sound like, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Except for that one song
but...
that's on the Angry Mailman podcast, but
that was not on the first album, though.
Yeah.
They just put out a new episode. They did a show with Fadios.
No kidding.
Oh, they did.
Arch Nemesis Fadios. Yeah, they just put out a new album. A new episode today.
Okay, so I didn't.
I saw that.
I auto update my podcast at like 7 a.m. So if it comes out like in the afternoon, I'm not gonna get it till the next day.
I'm just actually impressed that most people don't know that album, the original like self-titled album. Like Every 6 Seconds was the big one where everybody wants to be like, I don't know,
I think
insert saliva known song here, but yeah.
The cool thing about what's his name, Josie, right? Like the lead singer's name, Josie. He is actually featured on a 3-6 Mafia song.
There you go. He's incredibly talented.
He's actually rapping on a 3-6 Mafia song. I think it's called Mosh Pit. But holy fuck, they actually put that dude on a 3-6 Mafia song, which I thought was just was like, wow, this dude actually did it. Like,
oh yeah, and you know, just to put a little bit of a point on that, like that was one thing that I loved about coming to Kansas City was the infusion of rock and hip hop that really happens out here. Rock, rap, and hip hop, shall I say. And that's like almost the catalyst was this. I don't know if he's the only reason, but was out here. There's this rapper named Tech-9, and he
Legend.
just always embraced that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's my thing with Tech-9. I can't be a fan because I can't listen to a whole album of that.
Really?
I can't listen to a whole album of that. The whole album of that.
Yeah, I get into it. Yeah.
Okay, here's the only way that I can listen to his music. I know a few drummers who play a snare drum along to his cadence in the song. Like, and like that part, like, is like, okay, that's cool because like they basically took the percussive element of the way that he raps and they made it a percussive element. Like, that's cool to me, but I can't listen to a whole album of that. I'm sorry, I can't. I can't
It's
do
fair.
it. Like, I went through a Bone phase and I'm not going back.
See, Bone Thugs and Harmony was very big for me too. Like, I assume that's who you're
like
referring to.
But that is like,
He's 1999. Man, listen, that's one of my favorite albums of all time.
Well, that's the only one I ever listened to.
Because of the two. That's not even because of the two Eternal Champion samples.
but this,
Yet again.
when you're talking about Bone Thugs and you're also talking about Tech-9, all this is Midwest rappers. So
Right.
True.
yeah.
True.
I can't listen to a whole Twisted album either. Like, I don't want to listen to a whole album of that.
Twisted, I'm gonna more agree with you, but
And like-
I agree. It's
and
the
like
same cadence. Yeah.
All them dudes like Do or Die and all of those people that rap like that. I'm just like, I can't do a whole album of this. I'll show up for the hits, the songs that I know. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll show up for the hits. But like, you know what I mean? Tech-9 ain't really got the same kind of hits they got. But so you ain't never gonna see Tech-9 on the verses.
Well,
Good luck trying
Tech-9's
to-
always kind of like stuck in the underground and like
Underground.
kept it.
Yeah,
there.
he can stay there.
Tech-9 would have been a good versus against somebody like MF Doom. Two guys in the underground that's kind of made their whole career on the underground, that have their own fan bases that's kind of made millions off of those underground fan bases.
Yeah.
Because and also on another note, not everybody gets MF Doom or gets Tech-9. So
Yeah.
that would have been a great versus to have if anybody was to go against Tech-9 in the versus.
I made the decision with Slipknot. I am not going to be a fan
was
of
about
anyone
to
that wears
ask.
a mask. I'm not going to be a fan of anyone that wears a mask. Like,
Well, the two Slipknot and Tech not only have Corey Taylor and Tech-9 work together a lot, but they're gunning for the same audience, even though they're different genres of music, in my opinion. Right? Like,
Makes sense.
The one that I don't understand is like Knotfest this year is Cypress Hill, and I was like, how the fuck is that going to work out? Like, I got to get all
Cypress
high.
Hill still, yeah,
And
even
then-
though they're more of a what I would consider like stoner hip hop, but they still have a
Yeah.
little bit of that spooky horrorcore aesthetic.
They
Even
they
with
do,
it.
and Black Sunday and everything like that. First
yeah,
album,
they-
I remember
they have the same fan
was very
base.
much
Yeah,
like
the
that.
same fan base that got let down when ICP stopped doing music or stopped doing music people cared about.
Okay, look, as an ICP fan in my childhood, fuck that. Like you said, I grew up. But what I gotta say is, like, concerts are an experience though, and I just don't see how the vibe, like maybe it's because I've never been to a Cypress Hill concert, but I want to go to Knotfest this year just because I don't understand how the vibe transitions from Cypress Hill, where I would think I would take an edible, I'd chill on the hill, I'd maybe, what I'm saying? Like maybe I'd get a little close to the gate if I wanted to see him, but like how do you switch to Knot after that? Knot's all about being pissed off and jumping around and...
Yeah, I know, but there's other festivals that like have.
But Cypress Hill has one thing that can fit in a situation like that. They have rock versions of their rap songs.
They do. They do, and I'll give you that.
You know what I mean?
Well, they have a rock version of
Cypress
one
Hill's
of their rap songs
at every festivals.
True, and like I said, Tech is more Tech 9 out here in Kansas City, at least, is more at the rock festivals than he is at the rap festivals these days.
Because we don't care.
Fair. Again, like 10 years ago, I didn't know who Tech was. He was just some underground rapper that you could go see sometimes in the warehouse district, but he had a very avid fan base.
Most of the Tech 9 fans that I know. And I know quite a few. Less than half are black.
That makes sense. That tracks. He doesn't make music that appeals necessarily to the hip hop audience. His audience is, like I said, he has his own audience and his own fan base that he's kind of built up on his own, which you got to give props to.
That's cool.
Because he's funny, he's crazy, he's weird, and I don't think I don't know. Actually, I don't want to speak for him. But you get that impression that, like, I don't know, maybe he's trying not to care about race, like in that regard, and I don't want that to sound as idealistic as it does.
He could because what's his name? Had Goblin was kind of like.
Oh, you talking about Tyler the Creator?
Yeah, he kind of went that way in the beginning, and then he has bridged the gap into the mainstream.
Yeah, pretty much similar. Very similar with that.
I don't think he's bridged the gap into the mainstream. The mainstream caught up to him.
You could say that, but
I think the mainstream came to him. He did not go to them.
You can make that assessment for Tyler.
Yeah, he made what he wanted to make. And
he's still making what he wants to make. He's not making pop music. It's just that people are catching on and liking what he's making now, as opposed to him making songs specifically for radio and for general audiences.
Again, coming back around, it's like what happened with video games, right? Like it's just pop culture caught up to him.
Yeah, because Tyler the Creator makes kind of weird music.
I mean, like his first fucking video, he bit a fucking roach. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I forget about that video.
We don't like, you know what I mean? Roaches are a part of the family, like your dogs.
If you get the salt and vinegar, like they go down pretty quick, honestly, as somebody who had to do that on a podcast. Yeah.
No way in hell I'm ever biting a roach. Never. No.
If it happens, the apocalypse, the roaches will survive unless the apocalypse is Tyler the Creator.
I'm pretty sure Tyler the Creator can create an apocalypse on his own. I think so.
But there's a new festival coming up called Oblivion Access that the headliner is Danny Brown. But there's bands like Carcass and The Locust and Blood Incantation and stuff with like more like popular artists too. It's a really weird festival.
Choppy probably like that festival. He's a big Danny Brown fan.
Yeah, and their crew. What is it? What is it called?
Bruiser Brigade.
Yeah, Bruiser Brigade.
Chelsea would kill me if I didn't know that name.
Well, I mean, he's not invited. You're not invited to any of the shows with the Bruiser Brigade. So.
No, that's bullshit too.
Can we say that Danny Brown's cover of "Freak on a Leash" is horrible?
I haven't heard it.
I'm not saying it. You're not gonna have Chelsea kick me off Cadillac on Mars.
It's pretty bad. And that's a cover. Like, okay, cool, that's fine. But yeah, it's.
I mean, to be fair, like, when was the last time Korn was relevant? Sorry.
They
were huge for their time, but
yes.
I stopped at Untouchables. Like that was really because like David had to have surgery on his wrists and shit like that, so they use a drum machine for part of it and all of this other like weird shit. I was a fan. Like, let's be honest. I
Well,
was a
on
fan.
Untouchables, the I can't remember the name of the main single off of that album. The beginning riff is the heaviest thing of all time, and then it goes into the rest of the song. But like that beginning is so fucking heavy, dude.
What was the single on Untouchables?
I can't remember what it's called because I didn't really listen to that album that much. At that point, I was pretty much grown out of Korn.
Was it Here to Stay?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, that one won the Grammy. It's got to be.
But yeah, Atrocity still I think is a masterpiece by Danny.
I stopped at Untouchables. Like, I think I was just out of it. I was out of the whole new metal thing at that point. I got put on the new metal in high school because someone gave me a Korn CD to use for a montage I was making for a television production class.
Well, it's cool that new metal is getting its due now. Like, it's actually being because I guess it's been long enough now that people are nostalgic for it. They're like, actually, this was actually very interesting and weird. How the fuck did this get popular on mainstream television when it's like funk and really dissonant?
They lived on TRL, bro.
Yeah, it's just so, but it's so weird, man. It's such a strange outsider style of music.
I remember in Chicago just growing up, and it was like what was it, probably mid to late 90s, and going and seeing in this for like $15, seeing this band where this guy with a shaved head would do the ooh wah, and it was Disturbed, right? Like, and I remember seeing them when like no one knew who they were, and everyone was like, "This band's gonna fucking fizzle and die." And like, who laughed last on that one? But
have you ever seen that video of the Disturbed's greatest hits?
No.
It's basically the guy. It's a guy doing his best impressions of that dude. And he's not actually saying any of the words. He's just going numma 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 numma. The whole video, like it is hilarious.
Well, because that was the big new metal thing, right? Was you'd riff, you do what was the new metal equivalent to riffing, scatting. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but like. It was just making. John Davis does it too on Follow the Leader. Like, it's just that. Actually, Freak on a Leash, isn't that the one where he does the like, boom, like that's.
But also, he really does it on Twist.
I wasn't trying to like
Twist on the second album is okay. It's all of that, and then the hook of Twist. I'm like, it's like,
true.
Oh, yeah, about that. I'm gonna put this video in the Discord of the Disturbed greatest hits. It is hilarious, especially if you know the songs.
All right, I'll definitely check it out.
But it's just like a dude just like doing the Disturbed songs with like a backing track, and it's just numma numma numma.
He's got the hooks. So here's the interesting thing. So fun fact. In my greatest days, I moved to Kansas City with my wife. Was unable to keep my job with the advertising firm I was working with, and went back into serving bartending. And I ended up serving Disturbed. They came in like on a Tuesday into the restaurant. It was a seafood restaurant that also did hybrid sushi. And they came in on a Tuesday at like noon. No, they went at 1:30. They knew when like it would be the downtime. And I remember that.
Sorry, they just woke up.
Maybe they came with wives and kids though, but not Derek Draymond. He had the hooks, and he came in with his extremely hot, extremely young Asian girlfriend. And they sat at like a private booth way back in the back corner, whereas the rest of them treated it like a family restaurant. They sat at some big table and just had a potluck, and all of them were amazing people, though. I got to say, they were super cool, super nice, tipped incredibly well. But it was just very funny because you just meet these people during the day, and like, I don't know. It says a lot about a person when you see how they like treat other people in their lives. And I just remember them all being like super nice and super respectful, even though they were at different times. But even then, you could kind of feel like he wasn't like his band. His band like knocked up chicks and like had families and like they were just getting on with their lives. And he seemed like he was still fucking young Asian chick. I don't know. He was just doing his thing still. He wasn't there yet. Like
Yeah, I don't think I've ever really met too many like real famous people. Like I've been in places where real famous people. I'm from Newport News, so I've been places where Michael Vick was there because we graduated high school the same year. Different schools though, in Newport News. You know, I've seen Allen Iverson play football and basketball. On the high school level, like I've seen this stuff, but the only person that I've ever gotten like close to, and I took a picture with her, and the picture is lost forever, and I hate the fact that it is. On a boat cruise, I met Free from 106 in Park. Now let me tell you,
Yeah, I know.
she is fine as she looked on TV. Now, first of all, she had on a pound of makeup. Like it was like basically she had like a bunch of makeup in a box. She stuck her face in and wiggled it around. Like that's how it looked. She had on a lot of makeup, but that ass though is the realest. I had my hand not even like 2 inches away from that ass, but my wife at the time was taking the picture. So like, I was gonna go for it, but then I was like, I can't do that right now. But like I wanted to, and she's really short. Like she's very short in real life. But like that's the only celebrity that I've been like close to. Like physically stood next to her, put my arm around her to take a picture.
See, I spent some time in publicity and stuff, so I've met a decent amount. And I grew up in Chicago. The trainer of the Bulls during three-peat was across the street from our house, Chip Schaefer. He lived across the street. And so through him, oh man, makes you wish I appreciated basketball more. Like I got to meet John Paxson. Hey, he was the one dude on the Bulls that looked like me. But
now John Paxson is mad that Tony Stark built this in a cave with a bunch of scraps. Like that's like John Paxson looks like that dude.
He does very much look
with
like
a bunch of
that
scraps.
Jeff
Like
Bridges, yeah.
He looks like that dude now.
Yeah, but like I remember meeting Michael Jordan very briefly. And I'd heard different things. So I know he tips like shit. I know that from friends in the industry. But at the same time, he was incredibly inspirational when he like saw us just hanging out at the training center. And like I got to give the guy credit. Like I think it's super cool when he sees a bunch of kids and he just comes up and he says hi. He doesn't need to. I know they say that, and like in today's YouTube, Twitter culture, like it would make a big deal. But back in 1994, like it didn't. No one fucking know. Like there was no one you could talk to. The internet was barely a thing. Like, and he did. He took the time and he just came over and he was very brief, but he was very polite. And he just told everyone, he's like, keep it up, be healthy, do good, and don't let anybody tell you can't do it. Like I don't know. I just
back
think
and
that
you
stuff.
told everybody on your AOL instant messenger like this is the shit, son.
I just remember the one thing my sister was friends with Chip Schaefer's son, and I remember that they were just friends. Like I mean, they were so young; they were like 9. And he gave our house a signed three-peat basketball, like in the little cube.
Oh, that's cool.
Have you heard the story about I listened to Questlove Supreme and they had Common on. Common said that he used to be a ball boy for the Bulls.
Okay.
And he said that he would get signed stuff all the time, and he said that at one point, he would get stuff, and he would sell it off to like his friends and shit like that, and people knew him. And he said he got some signed, game worn Jordans. I don't know if they were 1s or 3s, right? Game worn Jordans Let's just say they're threes. All right.
Okay.
He said he gave them to his dad as a gift. Said that he invited his dad out somewhere. His dad showed up in the fucking shoes.
That's amazing. That'd be like my dad playing basketball and shit with the ball.
What are you doing? These are game worn Jordan shoes, and you show up to the restaurant with these motherfuckers on. You're gonna be out your fucking mind, man.
You know what? This is my dad's story is a little. Actually, my dad sounds like more of an asshole in this story. But so my dad didn't want like he wasn't against anybody, but like my dad just wanted to do things that had nothing to do with his wife and kids. And so my dad was never around and never saw that shit, and then eventually got divorced. In the divorce, my dad takes the fucking three-peat ball out of the living room, which to me should belong to my sister, but I digress. And to this day, motherfucker has the ball in his house. At least he hasn't sold it, but like he has the ball in his house. And now, revisionist history, he tells it like he and Chip were like so close, and he was at all the Bulls games. And my daughter, my daughter gave me the ball. Like it was so cool. And my daughter's like my sister, when she goes on rough times, she's like, "Why can't Dad give me that ball? I could fucking sell that shit and make like."
my man went full rock star. This is my microphone, and I'm taking it. Like he went full.
Hear my dad tell it. He was hanging out with Michael Jordan, like like at the court side, ready. Like I don't even think Chip could pull my dad out of a lineup. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, but. It is what it is. All I really care about was I remember that Scottie Pippen's shoes. Scottie Pippen was my preferred player. I thought he was fantastic, and
I was a Barkley fan growing up.
There you go. So, the Flights, Nike Flights was his shoe, and I remember there was this crazy set of Flights that and my parents were not big on basketball shoes. They weren't against it, but I had to earn it. And he had these crazy Flights. I'll never forget them. They were like black with a bunch of multicultural colors, and they had like the crisscross straps in the front. They were like Velcro straps over the laced up shoe, and it made a peace sign. And I remember I love those to death. And I had like a pretty worn pair of them. And he was like, "Did you wear them?" He asked me when he was signing them. He was like, "Did they get worn playing basketball?" I was like, "No, I suck at basketball, but I love you."
I have some of those shoes in NBA Live 19. I totally have those shoes.
Those shoes are in NBA Live 19. You're gonna get me to buy NBA Live 19.
Oh, you don't have to. It's Game Pass.
Oh, there you go.
It's Game Pass because it's on EA. It's an EA game. But I have those shoes. I have them in all black, and then the heel is kind of like red. It's like green and blue.
Mm-hmm.
I have some all white ones, and then they have some like red and black accents on it. And then I have the team color ones where if I put it on my character who plays in the NBA, it changes to the colors.
Oh, that's dope.
For the uniform.
I just know, I remember him signing those. He had one of those gold, felt pens or whatever. And he signed those on the side. And I kept such good track of those and care for those all through high school. And then went to college one semester, came back, and fuck all if I know where those are. One of the biggest mistakes of my childhood was missing those. But I just remember meeting Scottie Pippen at the time and just thinking he was the shit. And the first thing he said was, "You want me to sign those shoes?"
That's fucking cool. Delvin, who have you met? Let's go. I mean, because we're not asking Chase this. Because Chase is gonna talk about some indie metal rocker that no one has ever fucking heard of.
I just said that I met Jimmy from Good Times at
JJ Walker?
Yeah, Jimmy Walker from at a Comic-Con or something.
But, do you know that he used to fuck the ugly chick? You know that conservative crazy chick, what's her name? Ann
Rice. And Coulter?
What?
Yeah.
Ann Coulter.
Anne Rice, are you kidding me? Interview with the Vampire, Anne Rice.
And Ann Coulter. Her and him used to be a thing.
That's a weird.
That is weird. Yeah, I
That's
wouldn't have
weird.
guessed that.
I don't
would've
know- I
lost
don't even
that
know how
trivia
to-
question.
Yeah,
They used to be a thing.
that's so weird.
That is, yeah, it's super weird. Like just seeing a picture of them, it's super weird. But there's like a lot of pictures. Like actually, just search Ann Coulter and JJ Walker, and like it's there, and it's like this looks wrong for all.
Now I have to look this up.
Yeah.
You have to, yeah, you have to. It's so weird.
This is. Let me see. I'm looking it up now because I don't even know how that even makes sense.
Oh my God. I found it. Oh my God. That
It
looks
looks so
awkward
fucking
as
weird.
all hell.
It does look weird.
It's so weird. But yes,
Although there is one picture from the Daily Mail. I'm trying to figure out exactly which one, but it's one of the earliest ones when you Google it. And you can just kind of tell JJ Walker's getting a handful of ass right behind it. He's wearing some mint green suit. And I'm like, get it.
Yeah, I'm looking at this picture.
Get
Yeah,
it.
it's disturbing. It's very disturbing.
it's like,
I'm all
yo,
about this. But it is awkward.
You look,
It is very awkward.
I mean, and like he's older, so he kind of looks like smoked sausage. In like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like he looks like smoked sausage. She looks like she's like right before she turns into the crypt keeper. Like it's like
Yes.
very,
It's bad.
It's very.
This is
weird.
all completely accurate.
But
Yeah.
like, yeah. But I mean, I don't know how he turned into smoked sausage. Like, that's like his skin just looks like smoked sausage. Like, what? How did we? How
Look,
did we
age
get
takes us all.
okay. Back to Delvin. Have you met anybody famous?
It depends on what you will say by meet. Like I've interviewed famous people on the podcast before, so that if you want to count that, yes. And I've been to comic conventions and things like that. I met people. I met the Red Ranger at a convention. I met
Nice.
Mike Coulter
The
from
original-
the original Red Ranger. Yes.
Okay.
I met Luke Cage at a convention.
That
I
dude.
met Jared King Lawler.
Okay.
I met a few people. I met John Wesley Shipp from the Flash show.
Heard of?
Nice.
I think those are the main ones I can think of. I met plenty of people at conventions. That's always the thing at conventions. But
Okay.
people I've actually talked to and like had conversation with and like deep like on the podcast, I've had one of my more famous interviews. I've had well, right now it's relevant to now. I've had I'm trying to think of off the top of my head. What is his name? I can't remember his name now. I just went blank. Rodney Barnes.
Oh,
If you know who Rodney Barnes is, Rodney Barnes co-wrote the Boondocks cartoon series. He wrote the HBO Winning Time series that's on right now. He wrote that. He wrote the Wu-Tang series. He wrote a whole bunch of shit. I've had him on my podcast at least 3 times at this point.
I
and
mean,
see,
like,
to me, that's bigger than what we've been talking about because, like,
Yeah.
Scottie Pippen, like, met me because I was like some dude's like friend, right? That person acknowledged you and spoke with you.
Yeah,
Right?
I've talked to Rodney Barnes, like I said, at least 3 times on the podcast, and he followed me on Twitter. We talked a good amount of time, so me and him are pretty cool. I've also I got one of my dream interviews last year. I interviewed Stan Bush. If you know who Stan Bush is, he wrote the song "The Touch."
I mean that song in Boogie Nights is like what made Boogie.
Oh wait,
Nights
Mark
go-
Wahlberg didn't write that song?
No, and the song originally, okay, the song originally was written for the movie Cobra.
That's what I thought.
I knew.
Yeah.
I knew it was a Sylvester Stallone movie.
It was written for
He
Cobra.
cuts pizza with scissors in that movie. I just want everyone to know that.
Yes, he does. It was written for Cobra, but instead they used it from my favorite movie, Transformers the movie,
Oh,
and that's where I know it from. That's like the main theme song for Transformers the movie.
You're the Best Around was written for Rocky.
Yes.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Yes, it
Okay,
was.
so fun fact, actually, Joe Bean Esposito, as he's known in the Karate Kid soundtrack. I wrote to him for my wedding. in 2009 and said, "Hey, I have to get permission from the DJ to play this when I got the one DJ who fucking follows copyright law." I said, "I have to get permission to play this when we enter to it," because I entered with my wife and our wedding group to this song. And Joe Esposito, I emailed his agent, and all of a sudden I got him back, and he goes, "Yeah, that's totally cool." He even made a written statement that he PDF'd to me, and he gave us a FLAC version of the song.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'll never forget that, just because he was like super dope. So if you're asking for simple favors like that, don't expect it, but you never know when someone's
That is really cool.
My ex-wife wrote to Oprah when she was in middle school. And she actually got something back. She got like a signed picture back and a letter.
Well, that's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
This wasn't like I have more money than anybody, Oprah. Like this was like early like
Talk show Oprah.
I had the talk show Oprah. Like, you know what I mean?
We remember when she built her tower on East Lakeshore Drive. East being that nothing's east of Lakeshore Drive other than the lake except for that tower. And I remember I was like, we all in Chicago, we just looked at the beacon and we were like, that's where she is. She's up there looking down on all of us. Offering us some good books.
That's the Stedman. He had to stay home. She makes Stedman stay there. Like,
yeah. We always joked about, like, my wife was always like, "Is she married?" And I was like, "She ain't throwing that away. She knows better than that shit." Like,
hell no. She ain't about to get caught up like a man and had to like he negotiated 30% of his money, and like just giving his wife 30% of his money made her the richest woman in the world. Like, you know what I mean?
And then that bitch gave it away. But yeah, like, but no, seriously, like we always joked about that. Like Oprah, she loved her man, but he had to go home to his own apartment at the end of the night.
Yeah. She ain't trying to get caught up like Mary J. Blige. Mary J. Blige got caught up.
She
Man,
did,
a broke dude.
Very unfortunately.
And he got divorced and got half. Like, God.
You hate to see it.
End up like fucking what's her name? Very beautiful lady, played in Swordfish.
Halle Berry?
Oh, Halle Berry.
Halle Berry had to pay Eric Benet alimony.
How the hell? It's one thing you pay a broke dude alimony, but Eric Benet is a successful songwriter. Like,
how do you negotiate our alimony as him?
He's like, you know, he's successful, but to what end?
Maybe
like, when's the last time you was like, yo, Eric Benet song is slapping? Like, when's the last time you said that?
It wouldn't matter. Like,
yeah, we live in a world where Joe Rogan's worth $200 million. Don't give me that shit.
Imagine being a millionaire and having to pay another millionaire alimony. That shit sounds insane. What are we doing here?
Can't get behind
Imagine being a millionaire lady and having to pay your dude alimony.
Yeah.
And he
equal rights.
Also, he's a R&B singer who normally performs with no shoes on. So, like, you know, it's one of those things. You know what? I will say this. When I first heard of this dude, I thought he sounded like an R&B singer who performs with no shoes on. And that's Kendrick Lamar. But Kendrick Lamar sounds like an R&B singer, right? Like he sounds like an R&B singer who performs with no shoes on.
What, his name?
Yeah, just by the name.
Yeah.
In concept, yeah.
Yeah,
he's just a rapper who performs for no shoes.
Right. And he's supposed to be coming out with a new album. A lot of people are excited. I wait to see what he does because he's a very creative dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think it's supposed to be his last project with TDE, so that's gonna be really interesting.
Supposedly, but there's some pushback on that.
Yeah, supposedly. Like, yeah. We'll see.
There's a little bit of pushback on that, but like, whatever happens. It'll be all right. Like, straight. Like, you know, I hope he's able to do whatever he wants to after this and like just go really nuts with it because, like, I mean, he's a little bit out there, but he makes good music, so that's a good thing. All right, so are we gonna do some? Are we gonna actually make it to do a little consumption? We can do games. Want to do games and then call it after that?
Well, we've only been podcasting for an hour and a half.
An hour and a half. We've only been podcasting for an hour and a half.
I mean, that's a record for me if you know what I do.
Right. No, we've only been podcasting for an hour and a half.
Poor
No, fuck
trees. Having to get up at like 6 in the morning, and Fred keeps them up till like 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
trees.
Most people
We're
ask
gonna be
me,
talking
like, is
about-
trees okay? Yeah.
We're going to be talking about the history of this freaking SIM card right here for 2 hours.
I wish I was that interesting.
We're talking about this very rare ColecoVision game. Like, if you
There we go. There we go.
My mom
Right.
just was talking about this shit. Like,
Trees and I made an understanding that I would sequester that bullshit to the YouTube channel.
right. All right, so let's do consumption. I don't have a whole lot of consumption, so I can go last. Delvin, you go first. What kind of games have you been playing lately?
Oh, this is interesting. Because I just started playing. I haven't been playing much lately, but I got two things interesting today.
Okay.
Because I bought a PS3, and I bought a whole bunch of old PS3 games because I missed the PS3 in it. I'm not dealing with that bullshit with, hey, we can't play backwards compatible with PS3, so we'll figure it out one day. I'm sick of that shit. No, I'll just buy me a PS3. So,
And the moment you want to hack the shit out of that PS3 and make it do other things, you let me know. But take your time.
definitely. So I got 50 Cent Blood in the Sand.
Oh, nice.
So if you remember this game, this is just literally Gears of War with 50 Cent in G-Unit.
I remember
And then
selling the game when I worked at GameStop. I've never actually played it.
It has
It's
an
fun.
awkward hatred of helicopters, but otherwise it is a fantastic game. Actually, I picked that up right on Xbox. I had originally played it on PS3, but I picked it up on Xbox like right before it went backward compat. And that game went from like $15 at GameStop to like sold out everywhere and like $100. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like $120 now. I got lucky because the price raised on PS3 as well.
No
But I
shit.
found a copy
Okay.
for like $30.
There you go.
So I'm like, I'll take this because I've been
What do
wanting to play it for a minute, and it's still good.
Right?
It's
It's
still really fun.
I heard it's a pretty
way
solid
better than
game.
it has any right to be.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is way better than it has any right to be.
Yeah,
It's just
I felt that I wanted to play it too when I heard the backwards compatible. I was like, man, but then when I was looking at it, it's not on the store. It's expensive everywhere, so I just like emulated it on the PS3 emulator, which is hit and miss. But for some reason, Blood on the Sand runs pretty good. There's a couple hitches,
See,
but I'm 15.
Fitty knew. He knew that like you needed to be able to go back and play that when that shit went back compat. Because I don't know if you know, but
So I'm
he
playing
knows the future.
50 Cent Blood on the Sand at 1440p at 60 frames per second. So yeah.
Not been my experience. I played it at some choppy 30s shit, but like it was all right.
yeah, I'm having a blast with it, man.
I was Tony
it's
Yayo the whole time I did co-op, so
it's fun. You just sit
never
there.
never go full Tony Yayo.
Yeah, never go full Tony. Yeah, but
I mean,
sitting there.
you're better than being Young Buck because like Young Buck got some issues right now.
also an
Oh,
option.
he got a lot of issues.
Did never do it. Yeah.
Where apparently he's really into the trans community.
No,
Well,
there you
good
go.
for him.
Everyone's
I'll
got
leave
an
it at-
interest. Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. He's very into
Yeah.
the trans community.
Yes, he is. But it's so fun playing this game, man. It feels like it's like prime 50 Cent because the soundtrack is nothing but 50 Cent songs.
Mhm.
Like, so it's just
Yeah, and you
all
unlock like music videos as you play, I believe. Like
yes, and it's just all G-Unit songs like around that time. Like okay, like you hear back down and you shoot people in the head, and you can walk up to people and do finishing moves and stuff. Like holy crap, super
And
violent.
memories-
G-Unit was dope as fuck when they had it. Like when it was their turn.
Oh yeah.
They had it, and they put out some good content.
Yeah, they
G-Unit
did.
album- The G-Unit album was solid, bro.
It was really good.
And Delvin, I
Really
haven't
good.
played for a while, but memory serves, there was like a taunt button where all you did was cuss like crazy.
Yes.
Idiot.
He's just yelling and cursing at people and shooting them, and the plot of the game is just ridiculous. 50's the whole plot is 50's at this concert in Dubai. And then he finishes the concert, and the guy's like, well, 50, I can't pay you. So 50 just pulls out a 12-gauge shotgun. It's like, give me my money or I'm going to murder you. And the guy's like, hey, no, I don't have your money, but here's this diamond encrusted crystal skull that you can have.
It was so good. It was, and for the record, I just want, this is a PSA as the retro nerd. You might be compelled after playing this game or looking up this game to play PS2 Xbox's 50-cent bulletproof. Don't make that mistake.
Yeah, not as good.
Yeah. Don't touch that game. But Blood in the Sand, highly endorsed. It's a fantastic game.
Fantastic game.
Well, okay, it's better than it has any right to be. Going back to it now, it's definitely much better.
Yes.
Because those games are not as prevalent now, but yeah.
Yeah, it makes me miss licensed games. Like when they used to do like licensed games for everything, and some were really good and some were really terrible.
Oh, that's a good question. What's your favorite licensed game?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh,
I can tell you mine.
Oh, you go first. You tell me your favorite licensed game.
007 Everything or Nothing.
That's a really good one as well.
Love that fucking game. Holy shit. Now, I'll tell you this. When EA had that license, they did good by that license for at least a couple of games.
I have the 2 Daniel Craig Bond games from PS3. I bought those as well.
Oh,
it's Quantum of Solace and one more. I can't remember the name of it.
I just remember Quantum of Solace because that was done on the Modern Warfare engine. It looks gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks great.
For the time.
Even now it looks great. It's another one. I can't remember the name of it. I think, is it Everything or Nothing? I don't remember the name of it.
Everything or Nothing is a Pierce Brosnan, right? It's not a Daniel Craig.
As I recall, yeah.
I'm trying to, but the other game, if I remember correctly.
I mean, there was GoldenEye Reloaded, but I doubt that's the one you've got.
It's not that one.
Bloodstone?
Bloodstone, that's the one. It's a Daniel Craig James Bond game.
Yeah.
That's not based off a movie. It's its own thing.
Bloodstone. Yeah.
And it's pretty cool.
I've heard mixed things, but those that like it really like it. So if you dig it, that's good news.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it a lot. So I would say my favorite licensed game probably would be the Telltale Walking Dead games, if those count.
I'd say
I'll allow it. Well, you know what? There's only 2 video games that ever made me cry, like real thug tears. That's one of them.
And the other one is the SpongeBob rehydrated.
No, there is the beginning of the Last
of Us. It's a Senran Kagura game, you know.
It's the beginning of The Last of Us.
Oh, that was good.
Okay.
Because that hit me at the wrong time. Like I just got
without spoiling it, like any of us I'm in the same boat, man. You got 3 years on me, but still like
I started drinking after the intro to that because
that'll
like
shred your universe.
At the time, I was separated from my child. You know, I have a daughter. I was separated from my child. Like they had moved to fucking Baltimore, and like I'm sitting at my house by myself, and I'm just kind of like, you know what I mean, like just like, you know, that kind of that feeling of emptiness of like missing your child, and then like the beginning of that movie happened, and I mean that game happened, and I turned my fucking PlayStation off and I went to go drink. Like I grabbed some fucking vodka and I was just kind of like, I can't do this right now. And I never actually made it back to that game to actually really finish it. I think I played maybe about an hour more past the intro.
Wow.
I just couldn't do it anymore.
I bet you were like, you hit me in the motion and now you're going to make me sneak.
Yeah, I hate fucking sneak.
It does a good job of redeeming that. That doesn't mean I'm saying go back to it. Like it is what it is for each person. But I'm right with you. Like I went through that and I remember going upstairs and I was like, I'm playing with fire here. She's asleep, but I had to go up and like check on her, right? Like go into her room, and it's one of those things you don't expect. And when it gut checks you like that, I'm with you though. I got through that chapter. Did not expect that. And it's so early, right? It's the very beginning of the game. And to turn it off, but like I had the same experience. And not just because my PS3 quite literally farted and died in the middle of me playing through that game. But yeah, it was too much for the PS3.
I game fluid for the PS4 and the shit would not even start. Like my PS4 was protecting me. Like it would not start. Like it would not start. It installed and I like deleted it and installed it again. And I did that like 3 times. The game fucking would not start for me.
Well, based on the rumors, you may have another chance.
Yeah, you get the remaster.
I'm never buying a PS5, so I'll be all right.
Yeah, you might be.
I'll never buy a PS5. Like it's not saying never, but it'll be a long time before I even want a PS5.
Well, I mean, I guess that we go into my favorite license game, and when I thought about it, I was like, well, I can't go with anything else but Marvel Spider-Man.
Oh, that's a great one. That was what I was thinking about too. That's a great one.
It's kind of cheating.
How's it cheating?
It's like recent. Game. That's like recent. Like, are we talking about recent?
Because everybody knows Insomnia invented Spider-Man. Don't lie.
Well, yeah, it's recent, but like, I didn't think we had rules on time period.
I'll make you feel a little better.
It seemed like cheating, though. It seemed like cheating.
I'll make you feel a little better, although that is a fantastic game. Like,
I agree.
And actually, I got to go one step further, although this is not my favorite licensed game. Miles Morales. I got to tell you guys, I think Miles Morales is my favorite Spider-Man. Like, as somebody who has been an avid comic book reader and stuff like that, back here, I had to splurge and get like the Miles Morales, both omnibuses plus the Spider-Gwen because, you know, they kind of like flirt and fuck around and whatnot, but not literally, but like, you know what I mean? Anyway, Miles Morales.
Flirt and fuck around and find out.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, and I'm probably gonna get some side eyes. But then, like when you think about it, you can go, maybe. Honorable mention, Doritos Crash Course.
Actually,
I told you. See, like you had that look on your face, and then you went, "Wait a minute, that was."
I played the shit out of me some Doritos Crash Course, if I'm being honest.
Doritos Crash Course.
That game play Chex Quest.
Yeah, and you can actually get that now free on Steam, I believe.
Yeah,
but okay, real quick, my 2 licensed ones pretty easy. Both OG Xbox actually is Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay,
hard
game by the Initiative, but it's a good game.
It's a very good game.
Yeah,
I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's my favorite TV show of all time.
Thank you. Apparently, Joss Whedon, not a great guy, but Buffy handled some good shit. The other one is just a nerdy thing. The Hobbit. It's a Sierra game. It's published by Sierra, but The Hobbit on Xbox, it actually takes the book and makes it kind of like cartoony and 12+. Yeah, and believe it or not, I did a playthrough of The Hobbit, like a long play, and to this day, people come out of the woodwork and they're like, thank you for doing this. Like, I don't want to grab an Xbox because it's like lives only on Xbox. I don't even think it was on PC, or if it was, it's really hard to play. And people are like, I just love going through this and just watching it. And I was like, holy, like, okay. But it's like, it's just a fun version of the game.
I got a question. Does KOTOR count?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's the weird thing is that when you say, "Oh, what's your favorite licensed game?" and we were talking about like things like 50 Cent and things like The Hobbit, and then things that have like always been in gaming, you forget that like Star Wars is a licensed product, and you're like, okay, then that trumps everything, right?
Turok, yeah. I bet there's a defunct comic book publisher that would really like you to remember Turok was a comic book property, but everybody only knows it as a video game.
It's a hard question because when you think of licensed games, you don't think of games that take the license to do their own thing. With like Telltale's Walking Dead is kind of its own thing. You don't really think of like, hey, the Walking Dead series is like its own thing, and even KOTOR is kind of its own thing.
The end of
Oh, yeah.
Telltale's The Walking Dead, man. I cried so hard. I mean, I had fucking snot
The
bubbles.
end of season 1.
Yes,
Hell yeah.
I had fucking snot bubbles, bro. Like,
Similar concept too. Not to spoil too much, but similar concept to what we were talking about with The Last of Us. But
similar, but in reverse.
well, and I think what is so distinct about both of those, what's so different about them actually, is what grips you about The Last of Us is knowing that situation, right? You kind of got to be familiar with it to get the feels for it. Otherwise, it's not that you're like a heartless soul. It's just that you don't have any concept of it. I got to give it to Telltale's Walking Dead. They build up that character only to then break your heart.
Lee.
Lee was fantastic. And the voice actor, I forget his name, but I met him.
Dave Fennoy.
Thank you.
Him talking.
He is a just magical human being.
Him reassuring her, like when he knows that it was his end. I mean, we could spoil Telltale's The Walking Dead.
The Lee Clementine scene right there.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Snot bubbles, bro. Like they could never. I never felt that way about any of the other ones.
I love that series so much because if you play through each of the seasons and you watch Clementine grow to who she is in the final season and get to that story, it's amazing. Like, yeah, it has really ups and downs, things like that. But when you get to the end with Clementine, you're like, damn.
I haven't played.
We watched her from a kid to like an adult, essentially. It's dope.
I haven't played the last one, and I haven't played Michonne.
You don't have to play. Michonne's good, but you don't have to play it for that story.
Yeah, I don't mean to be mean, but Michonne is the one you can skip.
You can skip it.
It's good.
You can skip, but you shouldn't because it's good.
It's good.
I'll give you that. Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
you
I didn't mean to be so
a really underrated Telltale game.
Game of Thrones.
Back to the Future
is great too.
Really
I love Back to the Future.
Telltale game. That was a really good fucking.
I mean,
game.
have you all played Jurassic Park? No.
I never got around to Jurassic Park. I did a humble bundle and I got a bunch.
It's not that great.
Yeah, no, it's quick.
The Game of Thrones one is really good. People sleep on the Game of Thrones.
Better than it has any right to be.
Yes.
And
that one's hard
Guardians.
to get, right?
No, sorry.
I got it.
Tales from the Borderlands was the one that I really dug.
I played through most of the Borderlands and I dug it because I was a Borderlands fan. I got like a bunch of them in a humble bundle, and Game of Thrones was a part of that. But I've only seen season 1 of Game of Thrones. So
there's only one season.
You need to remedy all.
No. I've only seen season 1
of the series. Oh,
yes, I've only seen season 1. It's not.
No, you need to get through the Red Wedding, and then you can play the Telltale one, and you'll be fine.
It's not my. It's not my kind of. It's not my kind of TV show.
Understandable.
You need to change your perspective.
I will say this.
2 seasons
and I feel the same. I feel the same way about Game of Thrones is the same way I feel about The Wire.
You can watch Brother Sister on Pornhub. He's good.
It's a lot of mother son.
I will say this: later seasons of Game of Thrones, they slow down on that a lot because the first couple of seasons, it's like every episode somebody's fucking. I'm like, come on, like really?
I think George R.R. Martin got like less horny as that went on too, because I've been reading the books. The biblical sized books. And as you keep going with the Song of Fire and Ice, same thing. Like it gets less horny. Like, which not in a bad way. Like I'm down with some horny, but like, yeah, it figures itself out.
We cut Delvin off talking about his games. I'm sorry. We started talking about other stuff. We got sidetracked.
But the other game I'm playing, I think you guys have found really interesting. When I was in high school, just going back a little bit, I owned a modded PS2.
Okay. And
I owned it specifically because I went to play, because I found out, I think I might have been from Game Informer or some shit like that. They had, this was the early days of eBay, a Japanese Transformers game that was based off the G1 series.
Okay.
Where you could play as all the Transformers. Like Cliff Jumper, Jazz, Optimus Prime, Rodimus Prime, everybody. I think it was called Transformers.
Started to get worried when you said Japanese, and then you went Transformers, and I went, all right, I'm back on.
Yes.
I hate the RPGs.
And the cool thing about this game was it's like it's an action game, but it only came out in Japan, but it's fully voice acted in English.
Word.
So you can basically, if you have a Japanese or modded PS2, you can buy this game and you can play it and you would understand it because it's all in English and with the original voice cast.
Word.
So I rebought me a Japanese PS2 this year and bought that game to play it. I bought the Japanese PS2 for like $60 and bought the game for $30. And I'm going to just start buying a whole bunch of English subbed and dubbed PS2 games, start playing them games. And I started with that one and I'm playing it again and I'm having a blast with it. One of the best Transformers games ever created.
Yeah.
Better than Devastation?
Yeah.
It's up there. It's really close to it.
Okay.
Because like I said, it feels like it's the spiritual. It feels like it's the predecessor to Devastation.
Okay.
I got a tidbit. This is useless knowledge for your ass, right?
For my ass.
Frank Welker, right? Megatron.
Yes, Megatron.
Mm-hmm.
He's also Curious George.
I didn't know that.
And he's also been the only person to ever voice Fred from Scooby-Doo.
He means he's the only person.
Only person to voice Fred. Yeah, he didn't play him in the live action, but every like animated, he's done it since the '60s, and all the new ones is all him.
He owns that shit, even though he doesn't have to.
Wow, that I didn't know. That's interesting,
right? Like he's just protecting the license so much. Like, and I laugh a little bit because it sounds absurd to me.
I thought that was Casey.
No, he's
Kasem,
just
that's
there.
Shaggy. That's Shaggy.
Shaggy's Kasem, yeah.
Okay.
Shaggy has had some replacements.
Multiple.
For some reason, Shaggy doesn't last very long.
and also, he's done some. Casey Kasem has done some voices on Transformers.
Yes.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
And the countdown.
In fact, I think he's the pink car. And so, Delvin, you mentioned this earlier. I think it was you. The Transformers movie, You Got the Touch. Like, my wife had never seen that movie because it's fucking Transformers. She likes cartoons, but she thinks that's probably dumb. And then I showed her the movie and she goes, this is some heavy stuff, especially when Prime gets it at the end. She goes, and then it ends with you.
He doesn't get it. He gets it at the beginning.
He gives the beginning.
Oh, is it? He does die at the beginning. Sorry. Yeah.
I hate it. You know what? I worked at a video store at one point. And the VHS of the Transformers movie came off a moratorium. They had it on moratorium for a while. You know, when they kind of hold stuff for a while. And it's like, no, we're not selling this for a while. So I bought it through the video store. I bought it. And I was traumatized all over again. Then forgot about it. Then I bought the DVD. I watched the special features. And it made me so upset. Whereas they talked about traumatizing all of us, and they were just like, we didn't think it was gonna do that. We were just killing off all of the old toys so we can sell you new toys.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. I own DVD. I own 2 copies of the Blu-ray. I want to say, I may own 5 copies of that movie. That's how much I love that movie.
They could have just had they just had him retire, and just made new toys. They didn't have to kill him.
You can't explain retirement to children. They don't have a concept of it.
Hasbro's whole thing when they did it was G.I. Joe's getting stale, Transformers getting stale. We're gonna kill off the old cast of both of them so we can sell new toys. And they started with Transformers first, and the reaction to Transformers was so visceral
that they held back on G.I. Joe.
They said, "Fuck that. We're not doing it with G.I. Joe." And instead of killing off Duke, which was the original plan, if you watch the G.I. Joe movie that came out on TV, because it was supposed to be in theaters, but because of the reaction to Transformers, now we're going to put this out on TV. Instead of killing off Duke, they just said he's in it. They changed the voice line and say, Duke's in a coma.
Yeah.
Even though he got stabbed in the heart with a snake. They're like, nah, we're not killing him off anymore. And then they added lines to say specifically say, oh, Duke pulled through. He's gonna be okay. Like, huh?
But it's Duke, so
Yeah.
it's possible. But yeah, no, I'm with you.
So Scar, you worked at a video store. You worked at a video game store. Did you work at a record store too to make the holy trifecta of cool high school jobs?
Trinity.
No, absolutely not. I couldn't do that. I
He's above
couldn't
that.
do that.
Like, yeah, no, screw that.
I couldn't do that. Like, I'm not bohemian enough.
Fun fact, you would think I definitely would have wanted to, but like never worked at a video game store. I just knew better than to mix business with pleasure.
I worked
Video game store would have been cool. Record shop would be awful. I
worked at GameStop during the holiday around the launch of the 360.
That sounds like a nightmare too.
It was.
I got turned down by both GameStop and Target for a job. So what does that say?
Yeah, and the assistant manager, his 360 red ringed the first day, but we didn't know it was red ringing.
So
his red ringed the first day.
Wow,
interesting. It's so funny and kind of sad, the games that have killed my consoles, because I'll never forget that Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End destroyed my 360. That was when my 360 red ringed. That was a more fun game than had any right to be. Speaking of licensed games. And then The Last of Us killed my PS3 launch. I had a 60 gig launch.
Blue still hates Left 4 Dead for red ringing his even though
everybody remembers the game that red ringed their 360, even though it didn't matter what game it was. But yeah,
I can't tell how many 360s I've bought that red ringed. I may have helped Xbox sales on those systems.
At one point, I had 4 Xboxes concurrently.
Oof.
I bought so many, I learned how to fix them and then get rid of them.
Yep, I just started. I sent in the first one that red ringed. I sent it in. They sent it back. After that, I started buying the kits to how to fix the red rings from Amazon. I just learned how to fix the shit myself.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Take that before mine red rings again.
Yeah, I ended up buying the kits, and then I learned the towel trick and all that other stuff.
The towel trick was actually legit.
Yeah, it worked.
It worked for a while. My understanding is it's just buying you time, though.
Yeah, that's essentially what it does.
You got anything else, Devin?
No, I'm good. That's it. That's all I got.
On you, dog.
So it might shock you all to know I've only got one game to talk about, and it's pretty brief. But what?
Is it ancient?
Is it Anthem?
No, it technically is older, but it's Demon Souls.
I like Anthem.
Anthem's not bad. It's Demon Souls. Believe it or not, everyone's been trying to convince me to buy Elden Ring, and I've played this game before. Not Elden Ring. I've played the game of like everyone wants me to get into the zeitgeist, and I'm like, I'm okay right now. It's not that I don't appreciate this game, but like I'm hip to this shit. I'm just behind the curve. So for the record, I don't find Soulsborne games to be difficult. Yep, there it is. There's the sacrilege. I don't find them to be difficult. What they are,
you play old games that require a level of skill that basically.
No, because my daughter watched me cuss up a storm. I spun a quilt of obscenities this weekend playing Cuphead with my daughter, co-op, and the likes of which have not been seen in a long time. And Cuphead is old school Nintendo hard, and that game's bullshit. Just in every way, shape, or form. I actually point out the points in the design where you just get BF'd by the fact that you don't know what the game's going to do until it does it. I find that less true of Dark Souls. Or Soulsborne games, and I should point out I've never played a Dark Souls game. I've played through a majority of Bloodborne, and I've played through now a large portion of Demon Souls. And what I've learned from those games is what those games do is they learn the behaviors that all of us have built up over our game playing years. This is particularly critical of people in their late 30s, 40s, and 50s. They learn what we've grown accustomed to and jack with that. They are literally designed that way. Perfect example of this, without getting too deep into it, is, are you all aware, and I don't know how much experience you have with these games.
I don't play any of those. I can punch myself in the nuts for free.
In every one of those games, your intuition when you get attacked, because they give you a roll, even if you're a turtler, which is somebody who hides behind a shield, which I am not, they give you a roll, like a dodge mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And in every single enemy, in every single fraction of that game, the enemy's attack will always attack away from them and hit you if you roll away from the enemy. But if you roll into the enemy, if you get all up in those nuts and you just roll straight into that dude like an insane person and start hacking away, they are completely blind to you. You can slaughter almost every enemy in those games and almost every boss just taking whatever your intuition is and going and doing the complete opposite. It is almost obscene, to the point that I'm borderline calling bullshit on these games.
Really?
As to how easy they become when you just go, okay, I just need to sit back, look at my intuition, and do the opposite of it. And it works like just too often to ignore.
Well,
so that's where sorry?
Is it that, because when I played a little bit of Dark Souls, and I found it, like, not difficult, just kind of boring and slow.
Yes. So here's what this is. And not that he needed any help, but here's where Scar never plays these games ever. What these games really come from is they said, let's take traditional boring ass, and I'm sorry, that's my feeling, I'm not criticizing the genre as a whole, JRPGs, where those were traditionally for people who weren't good at video games. And they said, if you can do boring ass shit for like 50 hours, we'll reward you by letting you beat the game. You don't have to be good at Mario. It's fine. You can just do boring ass shit for 50 hours and haha, we have a game called Final Fantasy. It's for you. And all these people who ended up becoming the intellectual retro gamers are like, well, actually, that is the greatest design that has ever existed known to man. And that's because they can't beat fucking video games.
Your well actually voice, your well actually guy voice is actually pretty decent.
There you go. You're welcome. But I get sick and tired of this because JRPGs, they're not without their merit, but those were made for salarymen who get done with really long, aggressive days and just want to bump back some sake or like tuck their kids into bed and then just roll with some shit where they don't even have to think for 2 hours. And that's what those games were designed around.
Well,
those games were not...
I thought I liked JRPGs after I played Persona 4 Golden. And then when I played other ones... That's an exception,
not a rule, but okay. Uh-huh.
I played other ones and realized I think I just like Persona. I don't like JRPGs as a whole.
Shin Megami Tensei Persona has a really strong, forward-thinking
Megami pretentious asshole just made sure that he pronounced the whole thing.
Yeah, SMT.
Well, he's gonna say the whole thing like a Tribe Called Quest.
The Persona games. They have really good writers on their side, and the JRPG notions about it keep you engaged enough that I think it is a decent balance. It's not for everyone, but I think it's stronger than others. But playing through these games, here's the funny part where I come to my conclusion that people probably aren't expecting after what I just said. Man, it feels good. Man, when you start to unravel the matrix of that shit, when you're Neo and you're just sitting there seeing it before you and you're just like, oh, I see that gargoyle up there. Okay, I could do one of three things. I could pew zap it with my magic, which is like cheat mode enabled, or I could roll into it and slaughter it. And as long as the game's bunk ass, weird ass, broken ass version of gameplay doesn't screw me into falling off a ledge, I'll be good. Or I could just kind of like wing it and run past everybody and eventually get to the boss. And then, I magically beat the boss first time because like I just use those same mechanics. But I'm sorry to say, these games are not, in my opinion, hard, and they're not skill sets. They are playing with a different set of rules that is intentionally designed to F with you. And that's kind of where I go, guys, I'm seeing behind the curtain, and I don't really think that Oz should be playing itself so coy when you braggart about beating these games. And I know the Dark Souls player. I've heard them before. Oh, well, what you don't realize is blah, blah. Like, no, don't give me that crap. You're full of it. You think you're cocky. You think you're good at video games because you figured out this rule set that exists completely obtuse to what video games as we know and understand. And like you said, Chase, yeah, it's really easy for me to win chess if I don't explain what any of the pieces do. Haha, how much do you suck? But what really happens is it's an obfuscated game with obfuscated mechanics that are only explained by turbo nerds and FAQs, and those people cannot help themselves. They get
you
off
just also
on making.
you just also described the average Magic the Gathering player that loves to find
Touché.
people that don't know how to play how to play their own deck and just exploit the fuck out of it.
As a Magic player who taught my daughter how to do it, she got online with Arena and got blown away by dickheads. I will completely agree with you. She walked home crying, upset that Magic's no fun to play. Then she started playing with me and my very limited set of friends, and she learned that that game can be fun. A complete agreement there. And what really pisses me off is there are exceptions. There are a couple of really good YouTubers, and I don't know them off the top of my head, but by and large, the people who write the guides and the YouTube videos for these Soulsborne games, they can't help themselves. They have to feel like they're so fucking important and cool, and they have to keep like stuff obfuscated.
There's an overlap between the like super
there sure
Dark
is.
Souls player
Because
and the people and the gamers that like don't know how to talk to women but say they hate women.
I'm sure there is. My better metaphor is like, okay, dog. All right, sorry. You're fucking dope at video games and you're really good at reflexes. Let's play some Street Fighter 4. No, come on, pimp. Let's go. You're that good. What do you have to worry about? You beat fucking the dragon in Soulsborne games. How dare you think that you can take me on? I'm only Dan. I'm in a pink gi. What's wrong? Come on, let's play. You know, that's what that's kind of the joke. And I'm really ragging.
For trees, but still.
I'm really ragging on people right now, but it's really because for like the last 5 years, I have reached out to the community. And honestly, a lot of my listeners, in fact, most, if not all of them, are not hardcore Soulsborne people. They've like played around with them and then bounced off of them. So they're not those people. But I've reached out to anyone I could. And I said, please show me what I'm missing here, because I'm not bad at video games. So show me where there's this hidden thing. And all it is it's this language no one wants to teach you. It's Latin all over again. But once you learn it, here's what I will say is I'm learning this with Demon Souls. Like,
you basically said something that is the equivalent to, in summation, like 5 times now.
Sorry.
I'm having
fun with it. What I didn't expect was to enjoy
We
it.
are not. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I hate talking about these games. I used to hate when Pimp used to talk about blood boring. Like
I'm not gonna get into it, but what I will say is I'm
no,
surprised.
Keep going. I'm just fucking with you because
I'm surprised at how much
bored.
fun I'm having because I found these games to be obtuse as fuck. And if you go to gaminghistory101.com, it's called the Soulsborne Diaries. I wrote my challenges with talking to people and listening to Bonfireside Chat and reading facts. And I even bought the version of Demon Souls that has the guide. And even the fucking guide can't be straightforward with me. It literally has a sentence in it that says, in this level, you need to get good. That's a fucking sentence
I
that
was like,
starts
you wasted
your
your money on a god, bro.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it came with the special edition, but yeah.
So it
this
seems like the
game need to
guide
be
is
better.
more of a meme than it is an actual guide.
Yeah, the point is that these games are not what they purport to be, and to me, even at the risk of being an idiot, once I get through with a couple more of these games, like I really want to do something that's like, okay, even if only like, because I've learned this over time. Like I did a Resident Evil speed run guide that like, oh, okay, you want to play Resident Evil 1 and speed run it? Okay, here's how you do it, and here's how you get the achievements. And I've still have people today, like at least once a week, that write to me and they're like, wow, you're the first guy who didn't condescend to me constantly while I was playing through this guide. Thank you. You just like are straightforward and you're like I say stuff like, cause I just like chat over it where I'm like, oh yeah, this is where I do something stupid and I don't know why I did that and I'm just a human being. And like I just kind of want to do something like that with these games because I think there's fun to be had here if you're down for it. But like the community is so gatekeepy. Because they don't want you to figure out they're so full of shit their eyes are brown.
So you want to do something like a more of like a spiffing Brit type of thing?
No, I want to do something more of like a, hey, these games can be fun, but here's the things they won't tell you, and I'm not going to do it as a listicle. It's not going to be 10 things the Soulsborne games don't explain to you.
No, spiffing Brit. If you ever watch his videos, he just
clearly I haven't.
He goes into these games and he just basically does videos about, okay, I used the game to exploit the game, and now this game is very fucking simple at this point. And he does that for a lot of games.
That always
I want to break it down
without
without peeking behind the curtain.
No, it's not about like hacking the game or using any codes or anything like that. It's just like there's a mechanic in this game that if you use this right, you can completely break this game.
Right, like I still can't believe how many guides don't just say, "Hey, if your intuition is to roll away from something, roll into it." You'd be surprised how often that works.
Well, the things that makes
people don't want you to know that because what?
Well, the thing that always makes me want to play these games is because the one thing that all these games, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, is Elden Ring as well. They all have really, really interesting monster designs.
They do. And if you're a horror fan, they're super cool. What I can't get around with Demon Souls is how cool the monsters and bosses are. But no one will know if they never see them.
Right.
And so, but again, to me, like that's the proof's in the pudding right there. How many guides will you pull up on any of these games? The first sentence should be, when you play this game, first of all, doesn't matter what character build you get, you're going to fucking suck no matter what. And second of all, this game is Final Fantasy meets Super Mario Brothers. Congratulations if that's not what you're looking for. Tough shit. That's what it is. And third of all, roll into every enemy and you won't get hurt. I've never read a guide that said that.
Or in Delvin's case, go left and go to the merchant first.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
That's like Metroid. Yeah. In Super Metroid,
see, I
never
told you
read
I
a guide
listened
that
to the
started
show.
go left.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the answer to Super Metroid. Go left. Like, why do gamers have to gatekeep their shit so much? Why do you have to be so fucking coy? It's like pregnant women. They're always coy. Oh, sorry. That was. But like my point is that like, yeah, I don't get why people can't just make, like, at least say like they've already come to you because they're interested in playing a game they shouldn't be interested in. Why in the world would your number one goal not be to convince them that this is a good idea?
I love that finally
Chase
Rojas.
Chase, stop keeping him going. He's been talking for
I'm not keeping him going. I'm talking about something else. I'm saying that I'm loving that there's somebody else on the podcast that you can hate on instead of me.
Moving on. Go.
Chase kept him going. Okay, Rojas just completely trampled over my time, so I'm going to concede my time. Chase is going to tell us that he's been playing Destiny and not very much of anything else.
I haven't been playing
Am I
Destiny.
wrong?
I played Destiny on Tuesday and did my weeklies, and the whole week I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I decided it's been a few months since I played that, and I really want to wrap it up.
That's a great game.
Yeah, and it's
You know
actually
what?
starting to like pick up. I mean, not that I wasn't having fun, but like I quit on chapter 4, and chapter 4, 5, and 6 kind of have been like really rolling forward, and so I'm nearing the end of chapter 6, I believe.
I think Blue in another Discord channel shared a video, and the people in there were talking about playing that game. I just never really got around to Red Dead 2.
Mhm.
I liked Red Dead 1, and I really enjoyed it, but like it was just something about Red Dead 2 that just made me just go good.
I think I like Arthur more
But people
than
talk about it like
Marston.
people talk about it as like it's the greatest game of all time.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree. I kind of like Arthur a little bit more than Martian. So much that I played 2 to the I guess the official ending of the game and didn't play the prologue. I'm like, I don't want to play this. When you get to the second half of the game, when they're like, oh, you can play as John Marston, I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to play this.
Like,
I'm
fuck
cool
that.
on this. It's not that I didn't want to play it. I'm like, this is not interesting. Why would I want to go be him and be a farm after having all this excitement I just had to this grand finale? Then the game tells you, oh, you got to go get a job and go farm and shit. I'm like, I'm not doing that. No, like I'm done.
Well, unlike most Rockstar games, that is a great 15-hour story that just couldn't help itself but be 70 hours.
Yeah.
So, I think I've only finished 2 Rockstar games. Finished San Andreas, but I cheated.
Wow.
I finished that one.
That's a long one.
I finished that one, but I cheated, and then I finished 4 in the DLCs for 4.
I don't think I
I
finished.
started playing
finished
But,
4.
San
but I
Andreas
cheated on those.
on the PS2 emulator, and for some reason, it's like CJ could not ride the bicycle. He would just
DJ sucked at riding the bicycle in all versions of that game.
Well, but I don't remember having this problem. Like he couldn't pedal, and he would like just flip it backwards, and I'm like, oh man.
That's probably your anti-cheating software.
It's possible.
It is possible.
You get the wrong ISO. If you need an official copy, oh no, I got an Xbox copy. That's useless to you.
I have I have an Xbox copy pre-2nd edition.
Oh, so you can watch Barbie dolls fuck.
Yeah, I can. If I wanted to hack it, I can get my hot coffee on. But like, I have a pre-2nd edition hot coffee version.
You know what? I will say GTA Vice City, Rockstar managed to, if you just do just the missions in that, you can knock that sucker out in 4.5 hours. Like, I mean, it's a quick, good Scarface story.
I don't know. Vice City, a lot of people speak very highly of Vice City. Vice City did not hold my attention at all.
Then it's not
good.
worth your time.
It's good, but I wouldn't. I like San Andreas better, but I like Vice City a lot.
San Andreas is doing so much more. I got to give you guys that. Like, it's a much more dynamic game.
Yeah.
There's so much more to do, and it interacts with you so much better. It also has the 90s hip-hop culture stuff like that, which, I mean, like, who can't connect with Mr. Mister's Broken Wings? But, like, yeah.
Soundtrack.
I don't know.
Best soundtrack in the game, period. Like, the radio stations in San Andreas are fantastic. And as a person who loves samples like me, it's crazy that they have like Master Sounds, which has these old songs on it, that all of the songs on the hip hop station sampled pieces from those songs. It's like, yo, putting that together, and then like the reggae station was like, yo, dog, it's some hits on this, like for real deal, hits, and like I got stuck one time on the part where you're learning how to fly the plane. My radio station was stuck on the dust. And you know, like anybody who's played that part, know that you fail that quite often. So I really got in touch with the songs on the dust. So
that soundtrack still is like very collectible. Like there was like a 10-disc soundtrack for that or whatever, and it's huge.
Yeah, that shit was dope. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that game. I finished it, but I cheated, of course. And then I finished 4, but I cheated on that one too. I used to have a Post-it note, right? A Post-it note with the unlimited health code right under my TV.
There you go.
For San Andreas.
You know it.
And then fucking what you call it? See, here's the thing. They fucked me up with 4, right? Because 4, you could call one of the side chicks, and you call her, and then she would heal you over the phone immediately. Just heal. But said if you do this one achievement doesn't work for you anymore.
It blocks.
So you just do the achievement because it only blocks that one. You do the achievement, and once you do that achievement, you can call her as much as you want to.
Yeah, I actually need to take that advice for the future. I didn't even think about that because I got stuck in 4. I didn't use that code. I didn't call her, and I got stuck at one of the missions in 4. There was just one where there's just too much stuff going on, and I'm just not good enough. Like I can't beat that.
I played the breaking the bank heist. Man, I got stuck on that one for a long time.
That one takes a long time too, because there's so many steps. And same thing with San Andreas. Do you remember with San Andreas, like there would be those missions where if you died, you had like a 20-minute car ride.
Yes. Especially when
that's the part I'll never miss.
Your character is like in the country house with the crazy chick, and then like you got to go to the mission, and it takes like 20 minutes to drive to the Vegas area, and then like you do the mission, and then you fail, and you're back at the country house.
Yeah,
sucks.
Yeah, that was awful. I'm glad
that was the fix that I definitely don't miss between San Andreas and 4. Like I was very pleased that at least when you fail a mission, most of the time in 4, you start up at like a checkpoint.
Right. Finally got checkpoints right. They finally got checkpoint right and shooting right in 4. Driving,
I'll figure it out. GTA 6 hasn't come out yet.
Okay. Have you been playing anything else, Chase?
No, I have watched some stuff, but
I've only been playing the same stuff, so ain't no point in me talking to y'all about the same shit I've been playing. I got really like deep back into the Division, so I've been doing that. I'm still playing Live 19 because fuck 2K, and that's all I've really been playing. I had fully intended to play something different, but every time I turn on my Xbox, it's just like, dog, you want to play this Division? We got some things to do in the Division. Fuck. Like, that's pretty much my life right now. So, it's been another long show.
Getting what you watching?
Oh, we are not doing that. We've been live for almost 2.5 hours. Absolutely fucking not. No.
What have you been watching, Ross?
No, fuck that shit.
Nothing.
You speak about what you've been watching.
Nothing.
I will fucking leave.
I literally haven't been watching nothing. Like nothing at all.
No, I'm serious. Like I mentioned one show earlier. That's it.
Yeah, we talked about Moon Knight briefly, but that's pretty much it. My shows are kind of on hiatus, so I ain't really been watching anything other than Moon Knight. So we've all been kind of watching Moon Knight.
Yeah, kind of Moon Knight. Oh, I watched the Batman. That was about it. I watched that again. That was great.
That was great. I was like, yo, this sucks. Like, I'm not a DC.
I enjoyed it.
I'm not a DC guy. I'm really not a DC guy. I'm more of a Marvel guy. I will always be.
I am too.
I'm not a DC guy. I did not like the Batman. I thought it was.
I enjoyed it.
I thought it was.
I like that they leaned into the detective aspect of Batman, which you don't see in movies at all.
But they're missing the most important part of the story.
Bruce Wayne, just being Bruce Wayne.
Wayne, yes, because
that part was terrible.
Once you find out about this fund and your father's name is being used to do all of this stuff, I'm sorry if you're getting spoiled, but fuck you, because this movie is terrible. Once you find out that this fund is being used for this thing in your father's name, Bruce Wayne can do way more at that point than Batman can, and he barely was Bruce Wayne in the fucking movie.
And he didn't want to be Bruce Wayne. And that's the whole problem I had with it. He did not want to be Bruce Wayne. I'm like, come on, man. At some point, you have to establish Bruce Wayne as being Bruce Wayne.
And, like, we all know Bruce Wayne to being the, like, other than Val Kilmer. Like, let's be honest, Val Kilmer was a little broody. But, like, Bruce Wayne is, like, the cool dude. And, like, he got holes. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
He about that life. And, like, you ain't even really see him, like, do nothing as Bruce Wayne in this movie. Like, that's the worst part about it. It's like, yo, Bruce Wayne, once this one part of the story hit, once you get the whole piece of the story and said, look, this fund is where all of this shit is coming from. This fund in your father's name. That's when Bruce Wayne is supposed to step in and put some respect on his family name. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he was supposed to do, and he didn't. And it's stupid.
Plus, he looks like an upset, like 9 Inch Nails fan from like my high school.
There's a guy I've been watching, and he does reactions to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and every time like Zuko has like that kind of haircut with his hair, he plays like a very small piece of crawling. Like every time Zuko looks at the camera, it's like crawling. Like he does that. And, like that was fucking Batman. Like,
I mean, at least it like explains the eyeliner.
Oh, shit. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I hate to do this. I have to drop. That's work.
Okay.
All right, later, man.
Sorry,
send me your links to your stuff. Send it to me through Discord.
Will do. Thank you.
I'll put it in the show notes. What's up, brother? Okay, we gonna wrap this up soon, but we gonna finish this talk about this fucking Batman nonsense.
Well, I say they explained the eyeliner because in the other movies he'll have the black eyeliner on, but then when he takes the mask off, the black eyeliner is gone.
It's gone. That is true.
It's on the mask. It's rubber. It's rubber. Like
whatever.
It's rubber. I liked. Well, see, I missed one part that I didn't quite understand it because I was halfway paying attention because I was on my phone. I thought that the Riddler figured out who he was.
No, he didn't. He did not figure out who he was.
He didn't, and I had that wrong. I had that wrong because, of course, I was on Facebook, like doing shit on Facebook. I was not very interested in most of the movie.
Maybe that's why you didn't like the movie because you didn't pay attention to half of it.
Because it bored me to fucking tears.
The Riddler thought that Batman knew what he was doing. Now, since you're on the sport, that block is boy. The Riddler thought Batman knew what he was doing and was helping him. Right. He didn't think of Batman as being adversarial.
Yeah. It's like. Okay, we're gonna do Martin terms. The Riddler was like, "Yo, dog, we here."
Yes.
And Batman was like, "Nigga, no, the fuck we not."
Yes, pretty much.
What the fuck are you talking about? And then he went, "No, that's not how this was supposed to go. I thought we was here." So I got that part, but I thought when he was saying his name, he was saying, "I know who you are," but no. He was saying that dude is.
King asshole.
Part of the problem. Like he's part of the problem. That's what he was saying. I had to go back and like rewatch that scene. But that dude who played the Riddler was really good.
Yeah, Paul Dano, he was excellent as a Riddler. And I think my love for the movie comes from the fact that I always wanted a Batman movie with this exact story in terms of I wanted a serious ass Riddler who's kind of like Saw, because it makes sense, and Batman just sitting there trying to figure the shit out like, fuck, it's a fucking serial killer. The Riddler's supposed to be Riddler's essentially a serial killer.
Did you read any of the books? The comic books?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah, I used to read
that's the difference between you and me. I think most of the people who really like this movie are people who are saying, I read the books and this is what I've read in the books.
Yes.
And like they put what I've read on the screen.
Yes.
Most of the people, not all, but most of the people who I know that really like the movie, they say that. Like I said, I'm not a DC fan, so like I don't have a lot of that the bookie stuff. Like when I was in the comic books, it was Marvel and it was Image and some of those. And I wasn't even a comic book reader for that long. But I did read a lot of like the what's the shit called, the when they reimagined the Avengers, what's this called?
You're talking about
the Ultimates.
Ultimates?
The Ultimates. And like, a lot of the Marvel movies are the ultimate versions of these people. Like, you know what
pretty
I mean?
much.
Yeah,
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury. Yeah. In like except for Bruce thought that he was going to be played by the dude from Fargo. What's his name? Steve Buscemi. they were talking about who would be playing them in the movie, and like they two of them they nailed right on the head. They nailed Iron Man, and they nailed
Nick Fury,
of course, because Nick Fury looked just like Sam Jackson. Like, come on, dog. So they nailed those, but like, they were just sitting around, just kind of like, who do you think is going to play us in the movie? And I thought that was just a cool like scene.
It was.
It was just a cool scene for you to read and stuff like that. I thought it was really cool. And so like the Marvel movies kind of lived up to my expectations. I don't have the DC fandom to fall back on for it to live up to anything.
Well,
I hated the Justice League. Like I hated the Justice League. I hated the Snyder Cut more.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I like the Snyder Cut. Too goddamn long. I think the Batman's too damn long. I don't want to see these long 4-hour movies. I don't need that now.
Hey, did you see the SNL thing I posted about the too damn long movies?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's in the shout box somewhere. But yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I don't need the 4-hour movies. That's too much.
Yeah, I mean, except for movies that don't feel like they're 4 hours or 3 hours, like Infinity War and Endgame are the only two like really long movies that I didn't feel like they were that long.
I'm okay with those being long because those were the culmination in the end of something.
Right.
But the Batman was not that, and Justice League was technically speaking not supposed to be that.
Right. I think the benefit of hindsight cut should have been much shorter. I thought they could have told this story better if they would have just recut the original movie. Just recut the image of the original movie. Yes, they explained a little bit more, but like the things that you added lengthwise didn't matter as much as the reworked scenes from the original. Like the reworked scenes from the original from the original movie with the benefit of hindsight cut, those meant more to the story than the shit that they added.
Yeah,
like you spent way too much time explaining. It's like it's like your child explaining to you why they did something fucked up. You know what I mean? And they give you this long ass explanation. It was just like I didn't need all of that. Like, you know what I mean? You could have just told me straight up what the fuck happened, and we
like, why is the chicken noodle soup on the floor? That's all I need to know.
Exactly. That's all I want to know. Why is this on the floor? And he was like, all right, because Craig and them had came over. and Craig a wild boy. Like, that's basically what the benefit of hindsight cut is. And I don't even think like the Snyder cut is, I don't even think it's a good idea. And I'm glad that they're moving on from that shit. There's just like, no, this is not what we're going to be doing in the future. We gave him his shot. He made the movie he wanted to make. We good. I'm glad about that because it's not about like he made his version of the movie. No, he saw how bad the other one did, and he knew what he needed to do to make it better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if the movie was made, it didn't come out, he saw how bad it was and petitioned to make his movie at that point. He didn't make that his point until the movie was out and it bombed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not like it was a cut to where like here's the original cut before.
Right. Yeah, so like that, the benefit of hindsight cut is always going to be the benefit of hindsight cut for me. Like,
And sometimes I think sometimes most of the time director's cuts are good because
Yeah.
but sometimes they just explain, because I hate it when things explain too much, and I know the YouTube audience, they want everything spoon-fed to them. They want, okay, what does this mean? What does that mean? What does this mean? You know, and like one of the ones that I've recently watched, but I never saw the director's cut of, what was Donnie Darko. And in the director's cut, they literally put the book that old lady wrote, they would put the pages on the screen about what is happening in that scene at that point. And you're like, then that takes the fun out of it. There's no mystery here, you know? Like, I don't know. So, and some of that probably happened. I haven't watched the Snyder Cut, but
Did you know, and I don't know, this is where he started, right? But like I said, I've been watching someone who did the it was going back and re-watching doing really short videos on Avatar: The Last Airbender. I watched all three his episodes for all 3 seasons. And like when they started playing the credits, I noticed a name that I didn't expect to see there. Apparently, Dave Filoni got his start on Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I think that's right. I want to say that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like as a director, he got started on Avatar: The Last Airbender. So
I think I heard him mention that before or something.
I thought that was kind of cool because like before we knew him for all of the Star Wars stuff.
I wish
Dave Filoni was on that.
I wish that we recorded our Avatar talk that we did on game night. That was a good conversation. But
yeah, but then I looked it up and like there's a fan made sequel, and that shit seems interesting as fuck. Like it's the sequel to Korra.
Oh.
And but it's fan made. It's not the original. It's called The Legend of Genji. And The Legend of Genji. Okay, this is years after Korra's dead, of course, because now there's a new Avatar. The new real Avatar is a sandbender.
Oh, that could be cool.
But the White Lotus crowned someone else the Avatar. So there's an Earthbender dude pretending to be the Avatar in the city, while this dude is out in the boondocks being a sandbender, and he's actually the real Avatar.
That sounds interesting.
It's super interesting, and I like watch the there's a video, and it's kind of like it's an unvoiced video comic, I guess you would say. It's an unvoiced video comic. So that was like the first episode or whatever like that. But I'm like, yo, this shit seems interesting as fuck because now we have someone to we can go into the history and the lore of the Sandbenders. Like, you know what I mean? Like
That could be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's where this dude started from because of course the next Avatar is an Earthbender. So
yeah.
So like that idea that he's one of the specialty people that Blue was talking about that night. That he said he wanted something completely different, and it was just like, okay. But he started talking about light and dark benders and stuff like that, and I was like, nah, nigga, that's magic. And I guess bending is kind of magic-y too, but like it's grounded in something. Light and dark are not grounded in something enough for you to include them in.
That's more spiritual. Well, I mean, I guess. Yeah. Well, yeah, the chakras and that's spiritual too. But it's like spiritual in a way that's like like druidic, like Earth,
Yeah.
like it's all I don't like natural elements, nature and stuff like that. Versus
nature as opposed to spiritual, and like and then like all of the elements have not only roots in something nature, but they all learned it from some type of animal. You know what I mean? Like earthbenders learned it from the badger moles, like the firebenders learned it from the dragons, like the airbenders learned it from the sky bison. Like, you know what I mean? Like that type of thing. Like there's a explanation of why these animals evolved for this. And like how the humans got it from the animals, like that type of thing. So it's a little bit more grounded than to try to use any other kind of magic system. Blue.
Yeah.
So,
but Blue, I wanted to like wait until we were done with our consumptions, but then we went on so long. Would you like to do Blue's question next week, or would you like to do it now?
No, let's do the question. Wait, I got a little bit of time. You got a little bit of time, Devin?
I'm down. Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
Well, he asked, so if you could manage one IP in any form of media, what would you do it with? For me, he'd love to manage Mass Effect. There's so much that BioWare and EA could do. Personalized Shepard game discs and cover sleeves and cover art, story-driven podcasts similar to Halo's Hunt for the Truth, or a line of Choose Your Own Venture books and more.
Here's the problem with Mass Effect. If you try to do anything other than the games, right? If you try to make it a movie or you try to make it a TV show, you have to figure out which Shepard you're going to use, and that fucks the whole thing up.
Well, can't you do it like the?
How do you make a TV show with one or the other Shepard? Because whoever cares about the other Shepard is going to be pissed, right?
Well, I mean, he could do like things like the Star Wars extended universe that has nothing to do with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader.
You know? Well, you have to do side characters, but you can't do Shepard at all.
Right.
Because
they'd probably do Finn Shepard, because Finn Shepard's probably the more popular one. Even though I use male Shepard, but people like Finn Shepard a lot.
My Finn Shep is always my Renegade playthrough. Always. And like is like, I don't know what it is. Maybe because I'm not a woman, so it's easier for me to be evil as a woman. Like, I don't have to make sure that I have any of those feelings that connect to that.
It's not so bad there, but
I mean, I find that shit to be weird. Like, even when I'm Fem Shep, I'm like, yo, I'm fucking Liara, because I can't. I can't be a straight Fem Shep. I'm sorry, I can't do that. It just don't work for me, dog. I can't be straight. Like, I can't just be like, I'm supposed to be inhabiting this character and someone's gonna fuck me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, dog. All right, what would you choose then?
Probably 24. The TV series 24.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love 24. I love the character Jack Bauer. And I feel like even the way they left the show, there was so much room to do more things with it. Like, they would talk about doing movies and things like that. And 24 shouldn't just live and die by Jack Bauer alone, for one thing.
Right.
You could do TV, especially in the climate today. Today's climate is the perfect climate for a 24 TV show, video games, all that type of stuff. As much as people are into politics and espionage and things like that, and wars and stuff like that, 24 would be amazing.
Yeah, but
just play in that universe.
But 24, when it was out, was like fantastical. Now it's like,
yes.
Yeah, that could happen.
Well, some of that stuff that's for 24 actually did happen. So
yeah,
I think that's why it will be even more interesting. Like, in terms of like, hey,
I mean,
it's happening in real life. We can build on that.
Like, a nuke went off in like California in 24. Like, it can't all happen. Like, you know what I mean? It might, but like we're not talking about that right now.
I think they do nuke the desert.
I mean, yeah, but that's something different. Those are test bombs. It's not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, actual nuke went off in 24.
Yeah, actual nuke. What would you choose, Chase?
I'm not really sure, because for one, Like we all have that thing where the hindsight to where we're like, oh man, if they just listen to the fans, and then when they do the things that the fans want, they still hate it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't think that I can actually manage anything, and it actually turned out better because I don't know. But if there was anything that I would want to keep going. Well, you go, Scar, and then I'll think about it a little bit.
Okay, so I go back and forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's two IPs that I would love to have some input on, and like, how do we expand this? Borderlands, which we know Tales from the Borderlands expanded it in a way that we didn't expect, but like, if you played that game, that was actually a solid fucking experience.
Oh yeah, because when you guys were talking about it, I was going to mention, but I never got a chance to butt into it. But that playing Tales of the Borderlands really enhances 3 because those characters are in 3, and you wouldn't know if you played Tales of the Borderlands, you're like, oh shit. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of like Halo 4. Like, if you didn't read those books, you have no idea who the fuck the Didact is. Yeah, so like I can say the Borderlands, because like you can take that in many different directions, especially because you have so many characters that like you don't have a main character in Borderlands. Like your Vault Hunters. In the real version of the story, your Vault Hunters are working together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you can make a story based off of any of them, kind of like how they did with the Firehawk and all of that kind of stuff, where they kind of separated her out, and like, you know, she did the stinky leg every time she had the iridium. I don't understand why nobody ever noticed that. Like, whenever you gave her the iridium when she was like weak and stuff like that, she totally did the fucking stanky leg in order to get her power back. But and then my second one will be Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, there's so much that you can tell. There's different Slayers you can tell stories for, and like I would totally remaster those games.
That's smart.
Because it was 2 of them. I would totally remaster those games and start working on like new versions of those games, because like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of not necessarily like a Mass Effect, but like a Dragon Age, Buffy the Vampire Slayer Dragon Age type game, could be interesting. Buffy the Vampire Slayer Telltale game could be real fucking interesting. A Buffy the Vampire Slayer turn-based strategy game for mobile could be awesome. You know what I mean? Because like she has all of her friends, they all specialize in something. I mean, with the exception of Xander, but like, you know, he's the heart of the team. But like, you know what I mean? Like they can all do something. By the end of the series, they're all like special at something, with the exception of Xander. But and like that type of thing, when you put them in a party system and have them go against some big bads in a turn-based system, that seems like something that would really work. Or like a card-based game. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like, I can think of all of this stuff. You know, they were working on some sort of revival of the TV show with a new Slayer, but then of course all this stuff with Joss Whedon happened, and that's out. And so like I would go into these other avenues of it. Take this story and make it something different. Like, there's comic books of what happened after the show ended. And the comic books are treated like new seasons. Right. Why can't we make something out of that? At the very least, Telltale games that actually do that.
Yeah, because even if we get Sarah Michelle Gellar to voice it, saying that, well, she's older now, but if she voiced it, you can't really tell the difference if they actually make it a character, and you know.
Right. Yeah, I don't want like a TV show, but I want a multimedia like situation, and like, or you can do like an animated series, and like, you can go to different stuff. Like, I've read the Book of Frey. the Frey book, which is basically like way in the future. The world is completely different than what it is right now. The Slayer has been gone for a while, and then Frey ends up being the new Slayer. Like she has to deal with like now being connected to something that she has no idea about because this isn't like the time of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She has nobody to teach her.
Yeah.
And
And
then at some point she actually connects to Buffy in the past. And like you know what I mean, like that type of stuff. Like those are stories you can tell with this.
yeah, and I think it could be like a beat 'em up type, not like a side scrolling beat 'em up, but like a fighting like beat 'em up type game to where yeah, they're vampires and you stake them, but like she also fights them. So you can have it to where you would have to fight them and beat them down to where it would fill up a meter, and then once the meter's filled, then that's when you can stake them, basically.
That's basically what the games were. Xbox games.
Yeah, but like
But
make it
they
more
weren't
modern.
they weren't like side scrolling beat 'em ups. They were more like adventure games, like this type of shit that Blue loves.
Yeah, but or I know you wouldn't like it, but something like Persona because of the Scooby Gang mentality.
Well, that's why I say a turn-based strategy would probably work very well with the Scoobies. But like, what if it comes down to it and you make a Buffy the Vampire Slayer Assassin's Creed type game?
Or you would have to assassin like high vampires and stuff. That could work.
Definitely could be cool.
Yeah, see, you know what I mean? Like but like Sunnydale is the city that it's all based out of, and like you have to find the different vampire nests and stuff like that, and work your way through the bosses of those nests.
Yeah. But this
So you
would be
get-
after Spike and Angel, so you wouldn't have those in there. But it would be cool to see them in the.
Yes, it would. And I know the dude that plays Spike. He said that he would love to return to the role in some way, shape, or form. But Spike is a vampire; he's not supposed to age, and it's been years. So,
Yeah.
like something animated or something video game works perfect for that.
Yeah.
So,
It does.
yeah.
And then maybe you can have like romance options where you can choose if you go with Spike or type thing. So.
Nah, I go with the Square Riley. He's safe. He's safe.
But yeah,
But that would be another character of me being a woman having to choose between some dudes, and like I'm just gonna have to go with after the show Buffy, because after the show Buffy, Prince gay. In the comic books, I mean that's like a slight spoiler, but these things are like old. But after the show Buffy is gay.
Hmm.
And
But also, Buffy would
the
be
angel-
rated T, so it's not like you'd be seeing some Mass Effect level or even Witcher level stuff. You have to keep Buffy
Yeah.
rated T.
And the angel after the show books are really good. Holy fuck, those are good. But those comic books, I had quite a few of them, but then I let my comics go when I kept moving and I wasn't actually reading them, so I let somebody have them.
But I did think of mine. Mine would be Silent Hill. If for anything, just get it away from Konami, so somebody can do something with it. Because Konami
That's a choice.
is like,
Or you can reboot that horrible fucking movie that they talked about on the last PSVG.
Yeah, movie sucked. It's garbage.
well, the second one was really really bad. The first one wasn't good, but I at least like that they really nailed the atmosphere, and they didn't use licensed music, and they used music that was actually from the games. I thought,
You mean have a town with very few people and fog? Like, is that really hard to do?
well, I mean, it's not hard to do, but it is risky to do in a blockbuster movie.
They made a whole fucking Mark Wahlberg movie about the fucking fog. Like, what are we talking about here?
I thought that was about plants.
No, I thought it was. Wasn't it something? Wasn't it called The Mist or some shit like that?
Oh yeah, the
That
Mist.
was the Thomas J one, I think.
Oh, the Mist
Okay.
is actually
Yeah, I thought it was a Mark Wahlberg one. I didn't watch either movie.
The
so-
Mark Wahlberg one is The Happening. I think
Yeah.
that's the one about the plants, isn't it?
yeah, but the
I
Mist
never watched the movie. I just knew it was some sort of
is
fault.
the main inspiration for Silent Hill.
Yes, if I remember correctly. That's correct.
But Konami's just a shit company. They have
Yes,
like,
it is. Very
Silent
terrible.
Hill Pico machines. That's pretty much what Silent Hill is.
I've only played like one Metal Gear game, and I played like a little bit. I played Metal Gear Solid, and I played a little bit of Metal Gear 2, and those are basically the only Konami games I've ever really played. I mean, outside of the old Konami games, that's different.
Yeah, that's
Makes sense. They have been putting out stuff in forever anyway.
Yeah, I'm not a Konami guy. Like I'm not really a big Japanese game guy.
Well, I'm definitely agree with Donnie on the whole like remakes. When people were like down, like, why is everything remade? It's like, dude, why can't video games have this? Movies have this all. Like, you can find copies of movies from the 30s. Video games, they just want to like forget everything. Come on, like if it's.
I agree with whoever said it on the show, where I'd rather see series or limited series than movies.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dev said that.
Yeah, I'd rather see a limited series than to try to cram all of this.
Yeah, I did agree with that too, because I've always considered video games and books to be long form media, and trying to cram that into a movie is just hard. But
usually never works.
To the other, like something like Sonic, yeah, it doesn't. But that's Sonic, or
Sonic is a terrible IP in the first place. But like, I'm not even gonna get started on my Sonic takes. I have very strong feelings about Sonic.
But something like that, to where it isn't like Mass Effect. You don't want Mass Effect to just be one movie.
Yeah,
but you can't have one movie because you have to cover both Shepherds. I said that I didn't think that Halo should have been live action. I said do Halo animated with the people who designed the cutscenes for Halo Wars and did the redid the ones for the Halo 2 anniversary. Those fucking cutscenes are fucking fantastic. So like, make a movie with those dudes.
that'd have been cool.
Or make a TV show with those dudes. Like, make that's what I want you to do. And people ask me about Halo all the time because they know I'm a Halo fan. They ask me about the TV show all the time, and I'm like, I ain't seen none of it yet.
Not that great.
And I just don't know if I want to see it because I mean, 4 and 5 already kind of soured me on Halo. I don't want that to be worse. Like Halo 4 and Halo 5, I really don't like those games. Like, I really don't.
It's sad seeing that
especially
Infinite's
4
failing.
No, the problem with Infinite is it's a games as a service game and they don't have any content.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just sad
They
to
keep
see.
recycling. They just keep recycling the same events and all of that kind of stuff. If they actually gave us some new shit, like the game would probably stick around for a while, but they're not actually giving us anything. And like the fact that we still don't have co-op, we still don't have like a lot of the things that would be in any other Halo game. The failure of Halo is the same failure of the Xbox One. You came out with this thing and that's great, and you came out with the Xbox One X and that's really dope. Where the fuck content is, dog? Like where's the content? Like what am I supposed to play on this thing? And like once I get finished with the stuff that I'm going to play on this thing, where the rest of it? And that's what happened with Halo. Like they went through that crazy cycle and they had to fix the game and all of this kind of stuff. And it's just like none of the content is ready. Like maybe if when the content starts going, if they make a steady stream of content instead of just a hard dump, maybe they can keep people around. You know, like give us an update with some sort of content every month. And you'll have people coming back the same way they come back to the division too. Like people are looking at the people playing the PTS right now. It's like, yo, I can't wait to get into that shit. And people play it for a little while, and they'll go away until some more content comes.
Well, I hope that like games like Redfall and stuff like that will just be banging, and like we'll get a new face of the Xbox and be like, oh man, this is why we play on Xbox.
We do have a new face of the Xbox.
What's that?
Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, you know,
We don't need a mascot. Do we need do anybody need does anyone need a mascot anymore?
I'm not saying a mascot.
Not really.
I'm just saying like, you know, something to like say, well, we don't need Halo be this top dog anymore. You know, I just hope that Redfall does really good because it looks cool. And
It's Game Pass. No, what you're saying is Game Pass. Is 100% is Game Pass. Because all of this stuff that you're talking about, like Redfall and all this other stuff, day one Game Pass. So like Game Pass is the thing that's gonna make you come back to this thing. And Game Pass is what they put all of their eggs. They put all of their eggs in the Game Pass basket. And if the Activision thing actually comes through, Game Pass is gonna be off the chain, and they're gonna raise the price and do all of that stuff. But the front forward face of Microsoft right now is the Game Pass. It's not even the Xbox. It's Game Pass.
right.
So we don't need any games like that anymore. We need content. We need just a steady stream of content, and Game Pass is the way to give people the steady stream of content.
I mean, that's true. But you don't want it to be lackluster content or you'll lose subscribers.
It's been lackluster content for years, and people still have their Game Pass.
Well, I mean, Game Pass hasn't been a thing for years. It came for a couple
Yes,
of
it
years,
is.
right?
Yeah, years with the plural. So like, if it's been 2 years, it's been a Game Pass thing for years. If it's been two, that's an S. Like so.
Well, when I think
Game-
years, I think like 7 or something. You know what I mean?
No, but like Game Pass is the best thing that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been shown that their competition is always behind them, and the competition can't do it as well. We know this. We know this from like Xbox Live to whatever PSN actually ended up being. We know from whatever the fuck Nintendo was trying to do.
Well, I do
Like,
have a little bit of a beef with Xbox. Like, how in the company that does everything right when it comes to software on their box, like
Really?
backwards compatibility just works most of the time. Fucking cloud saving just works. To just party chatting and just linking up. But then on the PC side, they made Windows. Why the fuck, if I'm in a party on PC, does it just destroy my performance? Where I would rather get on my phone and be on Discord than, like, I don't know why it's so bad.
It's real simple.
That.
Software guys, they're not hardware guys.
But that is software.
Yeah, they just need to make the software works. How taxing it is on your system, they don't give a fuck. They just need the software to work. And it's just like Sony's hardware people. And the software is fucking horrendous and basic and like, you know what I mean? Like the only way that we're gonna get to a good place with all of this is the one console future where Sony makes the hardware, Microsoft makes the software, and it all just fucking works.
Oh, I did hear that Master Chief Collection is now backwards compatible for campaign co-op, so that might be fun to do. And
if you ever actually show up to one of these things when we say that we're gonna play something, like you'll show up and you'll play a game, and it'll be like 2 months before we even think about playing anything else together.
Yeah, because you guys are playing something that's only on the Xbox. So, Master Chief Collection. I just said cross-platform co-op campaign.
Okay, I have the Master Chief Collection. I don't mind playing.
But I've heard that there's talks about a Master Chief Collection type collection for Gears. Maybe. And that would be really cool.
Waste of time.
Why is that a waste of time?
What's the point? Like all of those games, just like the Halo games, like all that stuff is already on Game Pass.
But it's on Game Pass.
They remastered the first game already. Like what?
They remastered the first game last gen, and then the second and third game are not remastered and are not on PC.
I don't care about PC, so it don't mean nothing to me. I think doing a collection is a waste of time, but just updating the games so that they work better on newer stuff, and that you might actually be able to play this shit on PC. That's not such a bad thing. But like, yeah, if you want like a legendary edition, I mean, I guess that'll be okay. But like, it seems like you can, like we were just talking about content and Microsoft and content. Like, it seems like y'all could be putting your attention to something else. Like, can you put your attention on something else, something new, as opposed to just regurgitating this old shit the way that Sony has been doing for years, and people applaud them for it?
But regurgitating the old shit is not regurgitating; it's keeping it from just like disappearing, like all video games do. Like I just said, like the movies,
yeah, but
you can find a 4K version of Citizen Kane, but
is the money and time spent worth it? And you really need content, not just like when you really need content, do you really want to put the money and time into remastering old content or creating some kind of new content? Even if the new content isn't that great, see Rainbow Six Extraction, whatever the fuck that game is, it's still something new.
We can do both.
I mean, when you're Microsoft, you can do both, but they don't seem to be able to do both. They don't seem to be able to do both well.
What you think, Delvin?
I think you just have to kind of play it by ear. I would like to see a remastered Gears, but is it feasibly possible and profitable to do it? Like I said, it's already on Game Pass. Unless you're gonna do it specifically so you can, let's boost up those PC sales. It's almost no point to it, because like I said, you can optimize the ones you already have. And I honestly would prefer, at this point.
Well, it is kind of jarring going from the remastered version of the first game to Gears 2. You're like, oh.
It is.
Okay.
But truthfully speaking, they should have just remastered all three and put them all three in the collection in the first place instead of remastering just one. That made no sense. Like, hey, we're just going to, here's the first one.
That really should have been the thing. And just, you know what? Just because we'll go ahead and like we'll spit shine the graphics of Judgment. We know y'all don't like Judgment, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they should have just did a Gears collection in the first place. Like it makes no sense to do the Master Chief collection and then do one Gears game.
I think the problem that they had, because remember when the Master Chief collection came out, it was damn near unplayable.
Yeah,
I think they kind of backed off the rest of the idea from there. But like, you know, when you're Microsoft, those are your two flagships, and you gotta treat them right. But at whose expense do you treat them right? Like, do you get the coalition off of whatever they're doing to do this?
And the thing about it is that, call a spade, with everything going on Game Pass directly, is it really worth it? Like, you're not going to be selling it technically, you're just going to be selling more Game Pass subscriptions.
That's what I said. Is the money and time worth it? I don't think it is.
Because, like I said, it's not like they're selling that many physical copies of this now. If there was physical copies, they're like, yeah, go ahead and do it. 'Cause people are going to buy it regardless. But if you're just going to go on your service, well, just
you can do what they did with the Master Chief Collection and give it to the B team, let the B team work on it, but then you end up with B team type work while the Master Chief Collection barely fucking worked when it came out.
But isn't that the point of buying all these companies so they can build Game Pass up and then you can work on stuff like that?
Let them build Game Pass up with some new shit.
I think the point of buying all those companies was so they won't have a lull anymore. They won't have what they've been having the last few years where, hey, we only have Halo come out this year. And they're like, well, where's Halo? Where's Halo? Where's Halo? Now they're like, hey, we have Halo. We have Gears. We have this other Bethesda project coming out. We have something coming out every other month now.
And then they have Call of Duty, then they'll have Diablo.
Yeah. Their biggest problem is that they always have long, quiet periods. Like, there's always a PlayStation game coming out every 3-4 months. Every 3-4 months there's a new PlayStation game. Xbox, you may get Forza, you may get Gears, and that might be it for that year.
But see, the problem with the PlayStation thing is, yeah, there's something coming out every 2 or 3 months, but like most of that shit dies in a week.
Yeah, that's true.
It came out. You had something like Horizon. Horizon was strong as a motherfucker for one.
Well, that's really Elden Ring's fault.
It didn't even last the real 2 weeks. Yes, it was Elden Ring's fault, but that shit ain't even last 2 weeks. Strong in the community.
Well, that's because most of the Sony games are narrative based, so people are just right through them.
And it's also just the internet in general.
I think most of their games are single player games, and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, they're single player narrative based games that you can like. If you're that crazy type person, you can play that in the weekend. Like, hey, I can just bang through 30 hours of this game in a week and be done with it.
Yeah, they're games that actually finish. There's a finite end, and that's probably the reason why they bought Bungie, to help them make games that are not finite.
Yeah, makes sense. Because once you finish God of War, you're done with God of War, and you can enjoy it, you can talk about it, but that conversation, once everybody finishes, it's kind of over. The same thing with Last of Us. Whereas Bungie and Destiny, that conversation is a constant thing. With Fortnite, it's a constant thing. With even the lack of content on Halo, it's still a constant thing because people are saying, "Where's the content for Halo? Where's the content for Halo?"
And they released the multiplayer for free. So like you don't even have to feel bad because you ain't pay for shit.
Yeah.
If you had Game Pass, you ain't pay for a lot of this shit.
So, yeah, I think that's the biggest problem with Game Pass, because Game Pass gets people used to not wanting to pay full price for games. So hey, why would I pay $70 for the new Gears if you're gonna give it to me for free with Game Pass, and all I have to do is pay the $14.99 a month for it?
I think when I started really getting into Game Pass like that, I completely stopped playing my PlayStation 4.
I wouldn't blame you.
And now they're coming out with a yearly thing, and that's going to make it even better, where you can just I just get my year Game Pass and just call it a day, you know?
Yeah.
I pay for my Amazon like that, so.
They're doing a Netflix model. Whether it'll work or not, we'll see. Because even with Netflix, after a while, everybody start catching on to it and start saying, "No, what? Give me my property back. You can't have The Office on here no more. We'll do our own thing and make our own money off of that." Then Netflix had this thing, well, we got to start getting creative and making our own content. And making your own content is expensive.
Well, Netflix should be like fucking Microsoft and be like, "Oh, you want to take your content? We'll just buy you."
Yeah. That's the only way I can see them making out of this in terms of still being profitable. Like, you have to buy the people who make the content.
Netflix would buy Peacock.
Unfortunately for Netflix, Disney's already see that happening. It's like, nah, we'll just buy them before they buy them. Before you think about buying Fox, we'll just buy Fox.
And we'll stick their shit on Hulu. We own that too.
Yeah.
I've seen, the crazy part about it is I went to Disney Plus to watch Moon Knight, and I saw 30 for 30s on that bitch.
Yeah. They own ESPN, so all the ESPN stuff's on there as well.
I actually pay for the bundle, so I got ESPN Plus. So I'm like, why the hell do I have ESPN Plus?
Yeah.
So
It's gonna get to that point.
yeah, that's crazy. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Delvin, tell the people where they can reach you, man.
You can find me on Twitter at Delvin_Cox. Check out the Delvin Cox Experience anywhere you get podcasts, as well as play some video games anywhere you get podcasts.
Okay, what?
Oh, you can definitely check out. Let me say that for Chalfie Kill Me. Check out Cadillac on Mars with me and my boy Chalfie. You can check it out. Oh, and Terrell from Stage Crunchy and Milk. Definitely check that out. And Sean's there once in a while, but you know, Sean's gonna be Sean.
So I think that. Never mind. I can't say that out loud. I can't say that out loud. But I think I met Terrell the second time I went to PAX before.
Okay.
But I don't think he likes me very much these days. I don't know what I did, but I don't think he likes me very much these days. But man, it's been awesome having you on. Like I listen to these other shows that you're on, and it's just like this. There's sometimes where you're having conversations on the show, like there was the conversation about Halloween candy made me go to the PSVG the Discord so that I could voice my displeasure with how everybody was trying to talk bad about you, dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I actually went there
because I was right
just to say that. And like, you know what I mean? Like, and then like you having a conversation about candy, and like, I hate the fact that people come after candy corn when those fucking circus peanuts get no smoke every fucking year.
Circus peanuts are horrible.
Exactly, but everybody got higher about the candy corn, and it's like, why y'all talking about candy corn? And these shits are sliding everywhere, and the fucking the peanut butter, whatever the fuck, they ain't even got a label. The fucking orange and black joints,
those things. I don't know what the fuck those are, but they are awful, and they just they don't even have a fucking name.
Exactly, it's like somebody went to make Mary Jane's and was like, oh, we fucked this up.
Yeah, they just come like an offset bag with nothing on it. It's just like, hey, here you go, some candy. Yeah. It's like cartoon candy. Like, like you were watching a cartoon show.
Yeah, this shit might as well say Acme on the outside. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this shit's fucked up. Like, them shits don't get no smoke, but every year y'all come for candy corn. This is some bullshit. But I wish I had some candy corn right now, actually. Like the mix, the one that got the pumpkins and the Indian corn in there too.
Candy corn gets a bad rap. I'm not a big fan of candy corn, but I understand why people like candy corn. But there are plenty of other candies that are a lot worse than candy corn.
Yeah,
a lot worse.
Candy corn is like, is like bad liquor. Like, the more you have, the worse it gets. Like, you gotta stop at some point. Like, you gotta.
Well, that's the opposite of bad liquor. The more you have, the actually you're like pretty good.
No, it's like, this is horrible, but I feel great, and like that's a completely different situation.
And just like with bad liquor, you'll probably be throwing up in the morning. You eat too much candy corn.
Exactly. So you got to stop at some point, but yeah,
moderation, fellas.
No such thing as moderation. I'm a fat dude. But yeah, again, thank you for coming on. Shout out to Rojas. I know he said he had to go. And he sent me his link, so I need to put those in the show notes before I forget. And make sure that you send me the links to the stuff that you want. I know you already said it, but this has been the last episode of Spring Fling. We'll be back again with all guests on August, and I had a lot of fun this time. Like, sometimes you get into the groove of doing these podcasts, and you do the podcast and it's just me and Chase, or maybe me, Chase, and somebody else, and you just kind of get tired of it after a while.
Yeah.
And you start feeling some way about doing this, and then you do something like Spring Fling or August to August, and you bring in people who are not normally around, and you just kind of get a different feeling out of this.
And especially when we're get to talking on actual conversations versus like. Because sometimes, like, nothing has changed since last week. So I'm like, well, I'm still going to work. I'm still playing Destiny.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing with us because we switched to 2 weeks so we can give ourselves more things to talk about, and that didn't work. So I really enjoy doing these, and like and look, our door is always open. Like if you want to come through, you can come through anytime. Just let us know. After Spring Fling or August, we go bi-weekly. So thank you, dog, for coming through. I'm gonna make sure that I tell all my friends that I finally met you.
Well, he was on like a couple of years ago.
Was?
With
Yeah, I
Chelsea,
was on.
think.
I don't know if Scarfinger was on that episode. He might have been.
Was I high?
Maybe that was one of the ones you were out because it was Chompy and Delphin.
I remember Chalfie being on the show. I don't.
I've been on Scarcasm. I think so. I think that's what it was.
I could have been tripping.
It was years ago though. It was years ago.
Yeah, I could have been tripping. Is way possible. I could have been tripping. I could have been high.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that. I've done that. Not necessarily like smoking high or something like that, but being high for like some cold medicine or some shit like that. That's the reason why I podcast. I got high for some cold medicine by being featured on the show once, and then people were like, "Oh, I like that dude." So, but thanks again. This has been Scarcasm, and we'll be back in your ear holes in 2 weeks. Peace out to the Warriors, yo.
Later.
Peace.